You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent Austen Show.
Hey, Trevor Lawrence enjoying some of the ball yesterday at Everbank Stadium, and good to hear from Trevor as he's watching, I'm assuming from home. Everybody's asked me that. It's like, is he watching from home? Well, I would think so. I mean, he's got the baby on the way and also probably an arm in a sling. So recovery, and why sit out there yesterday in that weather if you had another option? So anyway, that's Trevor Lawrence commenting on Mac, which I actually think everybody's talking about Brian Thomas Jr. I thought Mac Jones threw the football well yesterday. I thought that was a good performance from him, and back-to-back weeks with no turnovers, so that's big for him. Again, this is a huge showcase for him to sign on with a football team and maybe help somebody out. Is he the next Mason Rudolph, quite frankly, that kind of just fills the void in the gap whenever, or does he get actually an opportunity like a Gardner Minshew did? With the Raiders. I mean, if you sit there and say, okay, Minshew or Mac Jones, we could have that debate, right? I mean, I like both guys. I think both are capable of winning some football games. I also think both are limited. But I mean, Minshew got a 2-year, $25 million deal. It hasn't worked out for the Raiders, but he got that deal. Can Mac get that deal from somebody else, especially in a quarterback class coming out that, I don't know, is just okay, right? I mean, I think it's just okay. Now, you can always have diamonds that come out of it, but looking at it, I'm not sure I'm predicting this to be like this unbelievable class of quarterbacks that do come out for the 2025 draft, which, by the way, is going to be Lambeau Field in Green Bay. I wonder if we'll be there with the Jags picking, at least right now, in the top 5. One other note on Mac Jones, at least for now. I thought it was cool for him. I mean, this is a guy that grew up in this backyard and a Jags fan. Like, he really is a Jags fan. And he's playing for his hometown team, and all that stuff had been the whole year. But he hadn't won a football game, even though he got some starts here. And so to win the football game yesterday at home, I think it's a big deal. And maybe he doesn't even think it's a big deal now. But 20 years from now, that'll be a big deal. Like, I'll be doing an interview with Mac Jones in 20 years and asking him about this game yesterday. And how cool it was to win in his own backyard. Like, I think that stuff's fun. That's just the sucker for a story in me right there. What's up, Austen Lane?
What up, man?
What I love about Austen Lane, we're not a lot alike, quite frankly.
Nah.
But I like this about Austen Lane is we are a lot alike. We basically got, what did we do last week? One show? And I'm thinking the same thing. I'm leaving my house, and it's kind of like, shoot, it's already this time. I was doing a little work at the table, blah, 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 blah. And we got family in town, have a little conversation. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I haven't done a show in like 4 days. I'm going to be late. And then Austin's like, yeah, my battery doesn't work or something. I don't even know what he said. He's like, he's going to be late. It's like, hey, great. We're going to start the show late. We got haven't done a show in a week.
Sure, for sure. I mean, you could have started 2 minutes late. It's all good, though. Yeah, so shout out to David at the YMCA for helping me out there, charging my car up.
You're the second. I pull in the parking lot, and Kim, who sits in the booth, she's messing around with her battery.
Really? Her battery's dead, too.
You didn't see her? I thought, she must have already fixed it.
Yeah.
You know, she changes her own oil and all this stuff, so she might have just fixed it.
She's like hardcore with it.
Yeah, I like it. She knows how to get it done.
Kim Possible in the house.
Hope everybody had a good holiday, good Christmas, good trip to Wisconsin.
Fantastic trip to Wisconsin.
Was it good?
Oh, yeah, it was fun. Good times. Mom was happy to have the boys home. Real quick, I want to ask you a question regarding Christmas, Brent. And Hamby, this may not relate to you, but maybe you got like little cousins or something, so maybe you can jump in on this as well. So I got to be careful how I phrase this because I understand that school's not in session right now, so kids could be listening. But say like, I obviously talk to Santa Claus, right? And Santa Claus gives my son a gift, and then, I give my son some gifts, right? So Santa Claus got my son an authentic Oregon green on the field jersey with his name on the back, and then 92 because that's his favorite number. Wow, you know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Okay. I got him a Bo Nix retro jersey because Bo Nix is his favorite football player. Sorry, Trevor. It's just it's an Oregon thing. It is what it is. Brent, I tried, but it is what it is.
It'll change.
He is absolutely obsessed with the Oregon jersey and hasn't taken it off in the past 4 days. Not even exaggerating. From the time that he got it till now, hasn't taken it off. And the Bo Nix jersey hasn't really got a lot of play. Even when they played the game, I think was it Saturday they played?
Yeah.
On Saturday. Bo Nix jersey not getting as much play as the Oregon jersey, so Santa Claus is getting all the love. All he can talk about is, well, Santa Claus got me this and this. And I'm like, yeah, but, I talked to Santa Claus, and I maybe So the question is that when you have like the gift online, like that one gift that's going to be the game changer, could be an Oregon jersey, could be a PS5, could be a bike. Are we going it's from Santa, or are we going that it's from you?
It's got to be from Santa.
It's got to be from Santa?
Yeah.
So Santa's getting all the love.
Yeah.
Hamby?
Shoot, man.
Right? Because you see where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah, why don't you give him the B plus gift is from Santa?
That's what I'm saying.
Nah, you can't do it. Not if you want to keep the magic alive. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, it's a season of giving, fellas. Don't be so selfish.
I mean, if you want magic, go to Disney World. If you want magic, go to Vegas and go see a show.
Or you could.
This is my time.
Actually, maybe the play
no,
here.
it's really not.
I know.
It's the big fella's time.
It's supposed to be. Yeah, I know.
Maybe the play here is to start at the youngest years to go best gift always from Santa.
Okay.
And then as they grow a little bit older,
I mean,
that starts to become the B plus gift.
We're
so
on
they
the
start
cusp,
to
I feel like.
no, not from the cost. They start to appreciate you more. And almost weans them off slowly but surely.
Yeah,
because
so like
they're already bought in on, I'm almost trying to please my parents more than, I am Santa. It's not that big of a deal. Santa's giving me, B minus gifts nowadays. It's not that big of a deal if he's.
Here, buddy, here's a Bo Nix jersey. It looks like Santa got you some candy corn from Halloween. Enjoy that. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Hamby.
Yeah, this is.
Got to start weaning them off.
You guys have this all wrong. Get a nice birthday gift if you want.
I guess.
I mean, like if you really want the credit, get the nice birthday gift.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. Here's the deal. I've showed you, like, I've got video of the kids coming down and stuff like that, and it's like the amazing what you learn in that. What I learned in all of that, and just like the reactions were great, but I don't even remember what was under the tree in those moments. It was the idea that like Santa had come.
Got you.
It wasn't like they got a new car under the tree or something like that. I mean, it wasn't what was on. It wasn't materialistic.
Sure.
It was the idea.
Yeah.
That's what I learned from the videos of the kids coming down. I was just like, wow, they just were. I mean, you could see them like peeking around the corner, peeking around the corners, there's there, and like they didn't even know what had come. Like, I mean, obviously you can see a gift here or there or something like that, but it's just like the idea that it happened. So the idea that you gave them a gift, well, that happens other times. You go buy them whatever. This is Santa's day, man. This is Santa's day.
Well, shout out to Santa, man, because Santa got it right.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. So you won. That's what I'm saying.
Santa got it right, man.
You guys won the holiday.
Yeah.
Got it right.
Yeah.
Living the magic.
Santa went to Fanatics and charged it. Shout out to Santa.
Hey, Santa's got different ways of getting it done.
No, Santa gets it done, man.
As long as he gets it done.
He gets it done.
Did you guys ski at all? Snowboard?
Yeah, snowboard.
Did they have? I mean, was it cold enough? Because it was kind of warm up there, wasn't it?
It was a little warm, but we had 2 solid days of skiing and snowboarding. And then literally, on that Friday, we left on Saturday. On that Friday, it started to pour, like rain. So like all the snow was gone. But no, I mean, we still had a white Christmas, so it's all good.
That's good.
He was happy, little man.
Good deal. It's going to be warm here, and then apparently it's going to be freezing next week.
Saw that.
Like Orlando might get into the 20s. Is how cold it's going to be next week.
Is there a chance of snow or not?
And by the way, I'm not giving you the forecast. I just saw like it dips down, and somebody told me it was more wind chill that it gets down there. But I heard like low 20s in the wind chill, or saw something. So we'll see what happens. But I think we got a little cold snap coming. We do this all the time because we got our in-laws in, and they're a little older, so. They want to come down here and be warm.
Of course. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And so Steph's always like, well, it's not that warm. It's not that warm. I'm like, Steph, the average temperature in Jacksonville this time of year is like 68 degrees.
Yes.
It's like 67 degrees.
It's fine.
Not 85 like all the time in Florida. It's amazing how we do have that though, right? Like even when I'm growing up in the north, and you probably too, you're like, oh, I got to go to Florida. It's warm all the time. No, it's not.
Yeah, but I think in relativity, it is warm. Like, listen, I just left and it was, the lowest it got to was like 15 degrees, 20 degrees. So, like, yeah, I come back here and the humidity's, it's not even that bad, but like, I'm still like, got to get my breath again and everything. There's those couple days to adjust.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. By the way, in Buffalo yesterday, it was in the 50s.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
even like Cleveland, it was in like the 40s or 50s.
I think it was just warm across the country, even in those cold weather places where you normally would get those kind of games.
Because everyone was saying, it's like, well, Are the Miami Dolphins going to be able to handle the cold weather of Cleveland? Yeah, I think they're going to be just fine.
And have to deal with it.
Calais Campbell wasn't affected at all. He's still doing his thing.
It's colder in Tennessee in early December when the Jags go play them. Jags got the win. I don't want to dismiss the win because in many respects, like I said this yesterday in our post-game show, and I think it's worth saying it because the bottom line is if this football team came out yesterday and laid an egg and it looked like they didn't care, and looked like the game didn't matter, which quite frankly, in the grand scheme of things, it really didn't, other than it was one of 17. We would hammer them. We would absolutely obliterate them for their effort, for everything else. And so I do think it's worth taking a moment and saying, man, this team keeps playing. They keep playing. I know it's your job. I go, you get paid to do it. It's easier said than done, is the bottom line, and we would absolutely hammer the other side of it. My guess is in New York, the Jets are getting hammered today.
Oh, yeah.
Down 40-0 in that game, where, by the way, the game was in reach at one point, and then it was just garbage time stuff that they got even on the scoreboard. They're probably getting hammered. That looks like when you're just making your vacation plans. This team continues to play. This team is not very good. We know that. But this team continues to play. And so for that, I feel good for the guys in the locker room. I will also note, and I said this on the postgame show, the fastest locker room in 25 years of covering the NFL.
What do you mean fastest locker room?
Usually when you, at the end of a game, first of all, it was a quick game.
Yeah, very fast.
Everybody loves that too. Mm-hmm. They were actually extending commercial time in the game because it was so quick. And so usually after the game, you know how it goes, right? There's coach goes and talks to the team. There's a cooling off period. And I'll tell you this, Doug has been on the other side of that. Doug takes forever, usually. No, seriously. He takes a long time.
Make him sweat.
And then, when Doug comes to the podium, then the locker room usually opens. Mm-hmm. Well, Doug came out so quick that I think he was actually out before the cooling off period even started. I mean, or was over, because you get a 10-minute cooling off period before things open up for the media. And so Doug's on his way. We're still waiting in the hallway to get into the locker room for another 2 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. And so Doug goes. By the time we get in the locker room, Trayvon Walker is already. So you usually get 4 or 5 players right there in the main spot, and in the locker room, centrally located. Trayvon's already waiting. Right after Trayvon was Parker Washington, he was right there waiting. Mm-hmm. Right after was Josh Hines Allen and Brian Thomas Jr. It was boom, 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 boom. We were out of the locker room. Mac Jones was done. Doug Peterson was done. The locker room was vacant. The last guy I got was Devin Lloyd, and he was that last guy I saw in the locker room, and it was 4:23.
Dang.
It was 4:23. Seriously, we do an hour postgame show every week.
Yeah.
And there are times where you don't get Doug until we don't even start the show right after the game. We wait 5-10 minutes, and you don't get Doug sometimes until 30 minutes into the show. And everybody was out. I was like, wow, they didn't really sit here and enjoy this one, did they?
Man, there were still some games going on by the time they got out.
I think you might be right. It was
maybe fantasy football championships. They had to get, they had to see the results.
I'm not this isn't a criticism or anything else. I'm just an observation. It was wild how quick everything moved. Okay, that all being said, was there any significance to this game? Because it really felt meh. It felt like one of the least important wins I've covered in franchise history in terms of any kind of meaning.
Yeah, first of all, I think that if they would have lost this game, then I believe we would have ripped them, because I truly feel like they're the better team than the Titans.
They are so much better.
I understand in relativity it's comparable record-wise and everything, disappointment-wise possibly, quarterback-wise maybe. But at the end of the day, the Jaguars were supposed to win that game, especially at home, and they did. So that was refreshing to see. To me, the biggest takeaway, and it continues to be the biggest takeaway, and it's the biggest silver lining of this season, is Brian Thomas Jr. And you saw him now be implemented a little more in the jet sweep game, which was really cool to see, because now it's coming down to, even when it's rainy weather, right? Even when it's not ideal conditions, you got a backup quarterback. They found ways to get the ball into Brian Thomas Jr.'s hand, and guess what? Worked out pretty well.
Yeah. I'm throwing things over here. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think what we see, here's my question about Brian Thomas Jr. And I've run out of things to say about him almost. But I think you're right about that part. Like, he looks, and he's getting more comfortable in that part of the game. We've seen him with the ball in his hands, like on a run. He was patient on that run, and then the burst. He looked like the best player on the field, didn't he?
Without a doubt, hands down.
Like, and I don't think that always jumps out, because the Jags haven't looked like the better team very much at all this year.
Sure.
But he looked like everything was easy to him yesterday. And I think everything's easy to him a lot of times. But everything looked so easy to Brian Thomas Jr. yesterday. Like, hands down to me, the best player on the football field. Josh Hines-Allen had a heck of a series, and he was dominant in that series.
Sure.
But I just thought the best player on the football field yesterday was Brian Thomas Jr., and it actually jumped out at you. It was that way. My question is this going forward. He's got a little bit right now of the Evan Ingram stuff from last year. Evan Ingram ended up having 114 catches, I think. And a lot of this right now is he's really the only guy to throw the football to or get the football to, with all due respect to the other guys like Parker Washington, who also came up with a couple of big catches. But he's the guy. Like, you've got to get, and they realize that. Sooner or later, they realize, all right, we stink, and we're just going to get this guy the football. Like, we are going to figure this out. And listen, the offense has been a lot better the last few weeks. They've been better on third down situations. They've been better on short yardage situations. Like, they have finally figured some things out in the last 4 weeks. Now, what else has happened in the last 4 weeks? They're playing bad teams. Like, they're just not playing good teams.
Yeah.
So, this goes hand in hand a little bit. But my point there on Brian Thomas Jr. is, can they continue to do that next year? When they have their full complement of players, can you still get this guy 14, 15 targets, ball in his hands, however many times? Because that seems like a lot, right? Like, Neighbors got a lot of targets this year. Why? Because they got nobody else to throw it to.
Sure.
They got nobody else to get the ball to. So when you do have, let's just say for this instance, if Kirk and Ingram and Davis and everybody stayed healthy, can you still get him the football that many times? I don't think you can. I don't think you can get it to that degree. I think you can do better than 4 a game. There were stretches where there was like 3 or 4 a game.
Yeah.
So now you have to approach double digits, right? In my opinion, you have to get him the football or make an attempt to get him the football double-digit times in 2025 per game. And if you don't do that, I feel like either somebody really did a good job of taking him away and other people better beat you. You better win with other guys. Or you didn't do a good enough job calling plays to get him the football.
No, without a doubt. And I think it comes more to even play calling, because I think, and I'm not ready to label him Justin Jefferson yet, obviously, right? There's some growing period to get to that point. But I think you could see a Justin Jefferson-like effect next year if he has the players around him to help him out. And what I mean is, Justin Jefferson, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in the NFL. And teams go out of their way to try to take him away. You saw it last night with the Packers. Like, they try to take him away. And if you take him away, if you double team him, you tailor your zone coverage to him, well, then someone else has to step up. And that's where Jordan Addison came in. Like, Jordan Addison's had a hell of a year being a wide receiver number 2, simply because, well, he's a burner, and number 2, he's always open because there's so much focus on Justin Jefferson. And then when TJ Hawkinson comes back, now all of a sudden it's kind of the TJ Hawkinson show again. So you have the tight end in Ingram. The biggest question is going to be, if a team tries to stop Brian Thomas Jr. next year, and they try to double him, because I'll be honest, if I'm defensive coordinator, that's what I'm doing right now. If I'm trying to double him, if I'm trying to tailor zone coverage for him, do you have the horses, whether it's Christian Kirk or Gabe Davis, to step up and say, hey, I'll be wide open, throw me the ball? And, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. And listen, you said it about Ingram. I think Kirk has that. I think we forget about Kirk because now if you look at the sample of Kirk, it's very much like Trevor in respect. You kind of forget what the good was because it just feels like forever since they've played consistently. Mm-hmm. But I think Kirk has the ability to be a 7, 8, 9 catch game guy. And it's not going to go probably for 140, but it's going to go for like 96 or 105, and it's going to have a touchdown in there, and you can do so many different things. Like, I think he was that guy. Like, last year he was on pace to have another career year and put up those kind of numbers until the injury. And so I think he's got that in him, Austin. I get what you're saying. Gabe Davis, we have no idea. Gabe Davis, by the way, has never been that guy. Gabe Davis has been like a big game guy here or there, but he's a 48, 50 catch guy. He's a third receiver. Right? He is the guy that's just going to be complimentary. That's all he's been in his career, and that's not a knock on him. It's just that's what he's been. That's all he has. I think Kirk has kind of shown he can do more than that. Ingram's now shown he can do more than that. He can be volume guy. And by the way, you can do good things. Like this offense did a good job in 2022 with volume-type plays to those kind of guys. And in this offense, it worked. It hasn't worked as much, obviously, the last couple of years, and some of that's because those guys have been banged up, quite frankly. But when this offense really got going in 2022, yeah, they had the running game. They had Marvin Jones helping out and Zay Jones helping out, but Brian Thomas is better than both of those guys. And then they still had the Ingram stuff and the Kirk stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how they deal with this. Glenn says Jags will draft a wide receiver in either round 2 or 3. I think they could. And it'll be
I don't think it's a bad idea.
It'll be a different style, right? It's a style thing. That's what I look at Travis Hunter and all the conversation about Travis Hunter, and this hit me yesterday, and I don't know if it bothers me, but isn't he similar as a receiver to Brian Thomas?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you that's a bad thing, but doesn't it feel like when you have Chase and T. Higgins or Justin Jefferson and Addison that they feel different?
Yeah.
I'm not saying they can't Higgins do some of the same things.
Yeah, but I mean Higgins is kind of like the red zone deep play threat. Jamar Chase is more, I think, of like a complete receiver.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and a more physical receiver, Jamar Chase is, to me, right?
Yeah, I mean, physical, yeah, but like once again, T. Higgins goes to get the jump ball. He does. So you can throw physicality in there too.
So again, this might be nuance, but I do feel like there's some difference. I look at Travis Hunter and I look at Brian Thomas Jr., I'm like, well, they're kind of built the same way. Would they do the same thing? But it's not bad. I'm not telling you can't do that. But that's why a lot of people like the McMillan kid out of Arizona, right? 6'5", a little different.
Well, but Brian Thomas Jr. is already big. I mean, I get it. If you can get him. But
the one thing, other than the Kansas City game, and you guys remind me, I was trying to find a way to be critical of Brian Thomas Jr. in any way. It's really hard to do. But do you remember like a jump ball type of, like a 50-50 ball type deal? Now, he hasn't really had to because he's open all the damn time. But go back to the Kansas City game in the preseason. You guys remember when he had like the one catch for like 30-something yards or 40 yards, something like that? Yep. And he went and battled for it. And you're like, damn, that's pretty good, right? Yep. Like we didn't expect that. That's what I'm talking about. Does he have that? And I'm not telling you need that, but do you need that guy? Like, do you need that guy that's going to go body somebody and go win a 50-50 ball and as to complement him, to be part of your offense? Because, listen, Kirk's not that guy either. Is Gabe Davis going to be that guy? I don't know. Again, I don't know what Gabe Davis is because we really didn't get the good Gabe Davis at all. So I'm not really sure what he's going to do to you.
I wish we could sit here and say like Gabe Davis could be like, the Jordan Addison, but it's hard to believe. And keep in mind like how that whole thing went out too, right? Like Adam Thielen leaves Minnesota, and this wasn't like prime like 200 receptions a year Adam Thielen. Like he was he regressed a little bit in Minnesota. They have Justin Jefferson, but what do they do in the first round? I think it was 2023 or 2022, whatever the case may be. I know Addison's been around for like 2 or 3 years. They drafted another wide receiver in the first round when you already had one in Justin Jefferson. They shored up their wide receiving core. Now, I'm not saying don't go get a first round wide receiver here in Jacksonville because I think there's other pressing needs, but I also think much like an edge, you can never have too many great wide receivers. So if there's a guy in the second or third round, I would be very excited if the Jacksonville Jaguars would go out there and get him.
I would too. I think the more – I feel like I watch more football in the NFL this week because they're all spread out. And listen, I get everybody loves Burrow, and Burrow's great and all that, but, man, it is something throwing to those two guys, And, I mean, Darnold, everybody's raving about Darnold. It is something throwing to those two guys and the weapons they have, right? Like you mentioned about Hopkins. I mean –
they're still great quarterbacks. I mean,
they're great years. They're great years. Listen, but they also have those guys.
Sure.
Right.
But are you ready to have the conversation, Brent, that Joe Burrow should be MVP?
They shouldn't be MVP. I mean, because Josh Allen is having even a better year than him, and Lamar Jackson's having an even better year than him.
Have you checked the numbers?
I saw the numbers.
Okay.
It's not just numbers. I mean,
so let me ask you this then. The Heisman Trophy, Travis Hunter. Why does he win the Heisman Trophy?
Well, because he does something that nobody else does. He's Shohei Ohtani.
Joe Burrow is doing something another quarterback is doing. He's playing with one of the worst defenses, if not even worse than the Jacksonville Jaguars defense in the NFL. And, I guess he's throwing to great receivers, but T. Higgins hasn't been healthy all year. He's been out for 4 or 5 games, and he's still getting the job done. So I think in terms of numbers, I think Burrow's got the best numbers. In terms of defense, he has zero help from that. I would be willing to bet that and I hadn't looked it up, the Bengals defense might be worse than the Jaguars defense.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay, well, I mean, how many? Look at I don't know.
I mean, at
told you
times
team
they have
defense.
been.
But I'm
At
saying
times
in totality this year, in terms of giving up points, I think the Bengals might be worse, even though the Jaguars surrendered 50-something points to the Lions. And then at the same time, too, offensive line doesn't block for Joe Burrow.
No.
So if you're willing to tell me that you somehow will your team, and I think it's like an outside shot, but to get to the playoffs, how can you not call this guy an MVP?
Well, listen,
How can you
Bengals
not call
28, Jags 29.
Really? Bengals
Oh,
are
so the
20.
Bengals are okay. I was wrong. Well, that's close though.
Well,
Very
I think
close.
you're right enough. if
How many
they're that
points?
down.
Where's the points per game
26 and a half.
for?
Well, 26.2, 26.4.
Okay, so close.
Listen, I mean, he's been unbelievable. He's been really good. His numbers are crazy good. I'm not telling. I mean, he's had like one of the rare seasons. I think I saw something 40 touchdowns and 10 or less interceptions. The last 6 times it's been done, they've all won MVP. Mm-hmm. But I also think, I mean, you have 3 guys that obviously are playing really good football. They're elite quarter. Like even Mahomes isn't in the category. To be honest, like Mahomes is not playing at the level those 3 guys have played at this year.
Not even close.
No. I mean, now Mahomes has equity built up and deserves it, and so you put him in the elite category because he's earned it.
Sure.
Right. But if you look at this year, you look at those 3 guys, and listen, Baltimore's defense was just as bad as Cincinnati's early in the year.
Sure.
Now they've changed it around.
They're better.
They've changed it around.
A lot better.
And
plus, they have the run game of Derrick Henry to kind of help you out in Baltimore.
They do, and that's why I think I would say that even Josh Allen deserves it over Lamar. He doesn't have that guy. I mean, when you've got a guy going for 2,000 yards on the ground as well, that helps you out, right? And Lamar, again, he's putting up better numbers, but he almost should be if he's got the guy going for 2,000 on the ground. I just think Josh Allen right now is, I mean, he also is doing things that nobody's done. It's 5 straight seasons of 40-plus touchdowns? I mean, so he's been there. And he is actually doing what we think, right, is more with less than he's actually had.
No, for sure. But he also has a pretty good offensive line, I feel like.
Yeah, he does. Listen, I mean, again, we can argue. I'm not telling you that Burrow shouldn't be in the conversation. I think he should be.
I think he should be.
But I also think he doesn't win it. Just based on other people's performance. Not his own, but other people.
No, I hear you. But I think if we get so wrapped up of like who the most important player is to their team, and I get like, you can, Josh Allen's doing, and that should be the biggest caveat with Josh Allen is like everyone expected him to regress this year, and it hasn't happened. Like, I don't think anybody was really picking the Bills to win the division. I think everyone was on the Jets. So, like, I think it says a lot about Josh Allen. With Lamar, I mean, he's having better numbers than when he won the MVP. So it's hard to kind of count him out as well. But once again, we say, okay, well, you got Derrick Henry and everything too. Like, that helps out. I just look at Joe Burrow, who's had a banged-up T. Higgins, who's missed multiple games, who has a defense that does not have his back and has an offensive line. I mean, I assume he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL. I think that says a lot because I'm not sure what other quarterback could play with that offensive line, play with that running game, play with that defense, and be successful.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's had a phenomenal year. I think actually the Cincinnati question is twofold. Why can't they figure out the offensive line? Because it's not like they haven't tried, but they can't figure it out. They just can't figure it out. And then the other thing is, I mean, I thought Zach Taylor made so many bonehead decisions. And now he's going. I mean, they're not going to fire him. I mean, now they're right in the middle of it, and they're going to probably change on defense. Mm-hmm. But like, you really can't. Even if they were in a position where we're not where we need to be because we're not winning games. I just don't think you could change it because their offense is right there. Like, their offense is so good, and he's the offensive guy. Where it's like, why would you upset anything going on with Joe Burrow in that offense, right?
If you put the Bengals offense on even a top 15 defense, I feel like they're one of the favorites probably to go to Super Bowl.
Yeah, probably 11 or 12 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't have the whole thing going this year, which is also weird because Cincinnati's defense over the last couple of years has been better.
Well, and they still have the lead leaguer. I assume he's still in the lead, Hendrickson, in terms of sacks.
Good player.
Like,
but obviously,
I don't get how you can't figure it out.
You lose guys like Bates, and I don't know what else they've lost. But Bates is a guy that they lost a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And he's still playing at a very high level over in Atlanta, right? So, I mean, maybe that was a guy they needed to keep. Let's take a time out here. Brent Austen Show here on the final couple of days of 2024. More Jags talk. We're a week away. Like, what's going to happen over the next week, plus the NFL, plus college football. I mean, obviously a lot to catch up on. Good sports weekend overall. Hope you had a fantastic weekend and holiday, and Happy New Year coming. Last home game for this football team, and they walk off the field a winner, and I think that is important. 2 wins now in Jacksonville this year. I mean, you've got to be – if you're going to turn things around, That has got to be one of the things that turns around. Like on the checklist of turning things around is win in Jacksonville. And God bless those fans that hung out yesterday during that weather, because it was a disaster at times in a game that didn't mean too much. We'll be right back.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade. If you need a quality play this football season at your home, call That One Painter First Coast. Locally owned and operated, experienced employees, no builder-grade materials. And there's more, and for that, we throw it to Noah Schlicksup. That One Painter First Coast can apparently help your kicking game, too.
Well, after my failure on skinny sticks last year on Creekside game day, I've spent a lot of time out here at Creekside practicing my kicks. There's only one issue. How is that even possible? The good news is I know exactly who can help. That One Painter can handle all your painting needs, from field goal posts to cabinets to stucco. They got you covered. Though they may not be able to help with my kicking, they can certainly help with the posts. Call That One Painter First Coast today for all your painting needs at 904-495-1373.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. a friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville Orange Park and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Let's get it.
Some would say the best part of the football game.
Oh, come on, man. Brian Thomas Jr. had a good game.
Nah, at halftime, everybody's watching. We had a collision there.
Are they racing here?
Yeah, they're
all right.
they're
Yeah, going 3 wide. 3 wide in turn 2.
Play-by-play. Halftime of the Jacksonville Jaguars game. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane, Jason Hamby here on a Monday, the final Monday of 2024. And next Monday will be a little bit different.
So Houston got Beyonce, and we got
yes.
We got that.
I like the Beyonce performance.
Oh yeah. Oh Brent. Hey. Yeah. It was good. Thanks. I know a lot of people didn't. A lot of haters out there.
There's so many. A
lot of haters.
I don't sit in the music genre of judging.
Sure.
So I'm very on the outside of this deal.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a pretty cool show actually, and built into. I always am impressed with the logistics. So she came out underneath the stadium.
Yeah.
And did all that so they could set up the stuff at halftime because they have such a small window. Mm-hmm. So if you think about the logistics only of it, I was like, that's kind of cool. Plus, I mean, do we know, was she singing the whole time?
I think so. I mean, she was, okay.
She had to be singing at some of it.
Yeah, because she was mouthing words and everything to it's up Houston, so.
Yeah, so that, I'd wonder about the early part because I was wondering how they would handle the acoustics of that.
So you're the TV expert. The beginning when she's walking through the stadium, was that live too, or was that pre-recorded? That was pre-recorded?
Pre-recorded.
Oh, so that was pre-recorded?
I didn't. I'm not positive. I'm not
went from her down on the ground, quick shot. Now she's up on the podium. That was 100% pre-recorded. The first 2 minutes. Oh yeah.
I didn't know when people were standing on the horses. I'm just like, wow, this is live right now. There's a lot at stake.
That was pre-recorded, and even before that, that was pre-voiced. Guarantee.
Hamby, now be careful because the Beehive will come after you.
I wasn't sure. It
has nothing to do with Beehive. This is how it goes, period.
Well,
all halftime performances, they have their mics live so they can ad-lib, shout out, whatever. But 90% of what you hear is pre-recorded. They're not going to be able to hear themselves even sing.
Yeah, and get it where they want it to be.
No.
I understand that part of it. I actually didn't think of that because you know what I saw from
Milli
a TV.
Vanilli would be proud.
Yeah, you know what I saw from a TV perspective though. This is why I never even registered on the pre-recorded part, but now that makes sense. And this is how good they did it of hiding that is when they show the people standing on the horses.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So, but when they went over to that, that's how they helped her get down from the horse.
Oh, yeah?
They cleared her away for enough time to somebody to be able to help her get down from the horse.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, that was pretty good. That's the way I look at it.
I was nervous, dude. I was just like, because I'm thinking, if one of these people falls off the horse, congratulations. You are like the next Ray Gun. You're going to be a meme for the next year now. So I was so nervous for that.
Now I'm more interested in how it went together. You know, she got paid like $20 million for that.
Oh,
holy
dude,
cow.
It's Netflix.
Well, that was the word. Okay, she got paid $20 million.
Netflix, man. They're just printing money.
$20 million. Has anybody ever made $20 million faster?
Good point.
That's what crossed my mind. I mean, these guys make insane contracts, but $20 million is a lot of money in 15 minutes. Now I understand there's more that goes into it, but still. 15 minutes, $20 million. Does anybody make?
I'm sure Tyson made something just with a quick knockout.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's actually.
That was probably like 10 seconds of work.
The boxer probably is the closest you can get to that.
Yeah, probably. Fighters, for sure.
Glenn C says, give me Laney Wilson any day. Glenn C. Hey, Glenn C.
I get it.
That's 10 bonks.
I get 10 bonks. Oh, man.
Listen, I'm a country guy.
Oh, see, I'm not.
I think Laney Wilson's so overrated.
Oh, wow. I wasn't going to go there. Oh, wow. I've actually never heard. I've seen pictures because everyone wants to post pictures. I've actually never heard a full Lainey Wilson song.
I mean, I watch Yellowstone. She's been in Yellowstone.
Oh, she's in Yellowstone?
Fine, like all
Who
that
isn't in
stuff.
Yellowstone,
Well, she
huh?
got boosted big time by the Yellowstone stuff, I think.
Oh, I had
well.
no idea.
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah,
No, I definitely gotta watch
that
it.
whole thing coincide. That whole thing kind of came together at the right time.
And like the whole Beyonce, like I guess she got a lot of hate because like, oh, country music, like these songs, like, and I'm not really a big country music fan, and like I've never even listened to the Beyonce album, but I was just impressed with just the performance. I thought it was great. Like she had her daughter out there, the choreography, all that good stuff. It was great.
Now listen, there are people showing up out there, and I'm like, who are these people?
Sure, Post Malone had to make an
Well, I
appearance
know
out of it.
Post
Yeah,
Malone, but that's
there's somebody else. Oh yeah, the dude that
The one hit wonder.
black dude with the dreads.
Yeah,
That's I don't.
Golly. He has the one TikTok song, and now he's all of a sudden he's in the same
Hey, and I'm
age.
not gonna lie, and I've said it before on the show. I'm not trying to sound like a hater here because I think the guy like won a Grammy, like best new country artist or something.
What a joke.
But that song sounds like he went through the AI thing that we went through with Shock and Mock. I'm just saying.
Boozy.
Shabuzi, yeah.
Shabuzi.
Hey, more power to him, man. Putting country music, in a new demographic. I feel like I like that, but sounds like an AI song.
a
Just
catchy
saying.
song, though.
Oh, that's why I'm saying it's too
Really
catchy.
really
it's too
catchy
catchy. What do you think? Because when Jacksonville gets a new stadium, opens up on Christmas Eve, Netflix throwing the money at Shad Khan. Who we getting? Because like. It's kind of hard to compete with Beyonce, man. Because like she's polarizing. Either you love her or you hate her, but like you'll tune in.
I don't know why did I miss the love-hate part of Beyonce?
I think just the olds, the olds don't get it. The olds want to see Shania Twain still do her thing and all
Well,
that.
they can. She'll be at Daly's place here in a couple weeks.
Say no more, Brent. See, that's a setup.
But I mean,
what are we going to bring?
understand, like,
Shania Twain's name like earlier this morning on something. Did one of y'all?
No.
Somebody tweeted something about it.
Did I tweet some?
I didn't say.
I barely tweet as it is. You come
Yeah,
tweeting
whatever.
Shania Twain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get.
Tedeschi truck span for Jacksonville?
Saw Derek Trucks yesterday in the parking lot.
I mean, that'd be
after the
cool.
game.
I mean, listen, I'm all for, like, they're great, but, on Netflix.
no, they're
for
not.
Christmas.
Here's the deal.
Like,
Get
Beyonce.
the Leonard Skinner experience.
Well, the better story.
The crowd goes mild, Hampy.
The bigger story is who they're going to get when they open the stadium. Like or like I don't know if it's part of the game or who's going to open this, like those kind of concerts that they'll be able to get, but they'll be able to get all the big names.
As long as we score offensive points and not just 2 points, I don't care.
Hamby's burner goes, we got Big Justice in the Boom Show.
Oh, God.
They'll be. Hey, by the way, that's 3 years from now. They are way gone.
Hey,
in
if
3
we're
years.
still talking about them, if they somehow reinvent themselves, I'll give them credit then. If they're still big in 3 years, then congratulations.
They
You know what
will
you're
not
doing.
be big.
Then
in
you have
3
to make a
years.
video doing it.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
They will not
Go
be
and
big in
bookmark
3
this.
years. I wonder. That's a really good question, though. Who is big in 3 years? Let's just say the Jags had that opportunity, and Netflix is whatever, or they just want to get somebody in the stadium for a game. Like, is it a current artist, like a Taylor Swift, or is it somebody that we don't even know yet? 3 years from now, like, can you rise to fame that quick? And the answer is yes, you
Not,
can rise to
not
fame pretty quick.
Beyonce level. Not even close, Brent. Not even close,
No, you can't get there.
man. But see, that's what I'm saying. It's like
Well, there's Beyonce
It's
level.
so-
There's Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and then it
sure.
drops.
Yeah.
Right. So like Lainey Wilson is big right now, but she came out of nowhere in the last 2-3 years. Is my point.
Yeah.
Right. And
Jelly roll.
I guess we gotta go Limp Bizkit,
like a
guys.
Jelly Roll, great call. Right.
He's not from Jacksonville.
No, I'm just
No,
saying
yeah.
that Jelly Roll is a great example of he came out of nowhere.
Gotcha.
And I mean, even in the country world, like Chris Stapleton did that. He was a songwriter forever, and then boom, he won everything, and then like came out of the dark, if you will. But so you do kind of wonder, like, do we even know the artist?
Do we claim
Right now.
Tim McGraw? Are we gonna claim him?
I don't think so.
No. Now that we have a new mayor, we can't claim him anymore. Fine, I get it. That's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut.
That might be one of the deepest.
That is a deep
It's all good. Hey, Hammy. Hey, don't worry about that one, man. That one wasn't for you.
Go back and look that one up.
That wasn't for you, man. It's all good.
I do want to get to Stroud in just a moment. You mentioned I also want to remind folks, hey, the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl is Thursday. In fact, Ole Miss and Duke are now in town, and so they're practicing at two different spots, obviously, and tickets still available for the Duke Ole Miss game. TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, Everbank Stadium, January 2nd. That is Thursday at 7:30. Tickets start at $50. TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. Hopefully a good game. I'll tell you what, I've been watching a lot of the bowl games. That's what happens when you're in a bowl pool. And the games have been very entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, games have been I know they don't mean as much and all that stuff, and there's so many games, like everybody can say that, but the games have been entertaining for the most part. In fact, I would argue at times have been better than some of the NFL games in terms of entertainment value. Now, I know they don't mean as much, but they've just been better and more exciting, and obviously a lot of points or come down to the wire. Or what was it, like a 6 overtime game, last week in one of the games?
Pittsburgh, Toledo.
That's what the fun part of, and you get fake punts and you get all this stuff. I was actually saying the other day, I said they should make a rule or you get bonus points if you make a fake punt or a fake field goal, that you have to do it in a bowl game. Like you have to do one or the other.
Yeah.
Right? You know it's coming at some point. And if you don't, you get subtracted 2 points or something like that.
Yeah.
It's going to become the Pro Bowl in a couple years.
A little bit. You can make it quirky, right? What the heck? We have the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Is that quirky enough for you?
That was morbid. Did you see that the Pop-Tart people?
Weber tried to put it in the show last night. I'm like, I'm not talking about the Pop-Tarts.
Oh, you could. That was everywhere. See, Weber's got his finger on the pulse of the youth, man. The youth was talking about that on Twitter.
Then he was explaining it to me.
Or X, as the youth calls it.
And some zombie thing?
Yes. Yeah, the one Pop-Tart that looked like he was a little burnt too long. Yeah. Like I said, it was morbid, haunting. Listen, super excited to have Duke come to town, but do we just get rid of the ACC in general or what?
Holy cow, they've been
do
so
we
bad.
just blast them off in the sun and say, hey, you guys can go to the minor leagues and let the big dogs play or what?
UNC, what about 1-9 they put out?
1-9 in the bowl games,
hey,
Brent.
Bill.
Yikes.
Oh.
Yikes, Brent.
All right, well, since you got on it, we'll hit it real quick. Cam Ward, you guys have a problem with this?
I don't. I didn't think he was going to play either. Nobody does. None of these quarterbacks do. By the way, Glenn C., to answer your question, no, Jackson Dart is not playing Thursday night. He's already declared for the draft.
And Duke's without their guy.
Yeah, he's already at Oregon State. So, look, 10 years ago, sure, I'd blame him. Now, you're lucky to get these guys even show up for the game as much as sit on the sideline. These guys won't even come to the sideline.
Why even show up for the game then, though?
Okay, wanted to break a record.
Yeah.
Which that's the kind of the part that
I don't know, man.
Makes it uneasy, but
yeah, and that was kind of my issue with it. It's like, if you're gonna show up, then are you showing up for yourself? You're showing up for the team.
Well, I think there's a little bit of both, right? I mean, a lot of people have a problem with this, and I get the reason why people have a problem with it. There's good explanation here. There's two things going on, I think, that people really have a problem. We did this last night on Action Sports Jax Primetime, and it's like, okay, are you in or you're not, right? I mean, how selfish is this going to be? Well, let's admit reality here, folks. I mean, it's a selfish game now. I mean, we know that. It's all about money. It's all about this. It's all about that. It's all about records. I mean, it was selfish when guys chose not to play, from Leonard Fournette to others, and then we got used to that. We're like, okay, we kind of get the business decision. We saw the Marcus Lattimores and other things. You're like, if I was that kid's dad or if I was that kid's agent, whatever, I'd be like, I kind of get it. A lot of money at stake. And then the other part that we don't like is the fact the way Cristobal handled it. He wouldn't talk about it, didn't say anything about it. And so there's non-transparency. I have a problem with this non-transparency stuff. I think it gets you in trouble. And it's the exact thing I've been yelling about here in Jacksonville for quite some time now this year, about the lack of transparency. And I think it gets you in trouble. And so I think Cristobal falls in that. But I also think Cristobal is a victim in a sense. I don't paint any of these coaches as victims, but he's a victim of the circumstance now. You don't have control over the player. You don't, you can't just say go in and play.
Yep.
It's not your decision anymore. It's a group think decision amongst his team, him, his parents, everybody. The player has so much more power today in college football because of the money they're making and their future and what they mean, that you almost have to be like, okay, whatever you need. And this is now the blueprint of, hey, come here and be the next quarterback here and we're going to take care of you. That's more important than saying, this is my program and you're going to play. You could do that 3 years ago. You can't do that right now in college football. And in many respects, I think Miami was in a spot where they were like, this to Cam Ward, we owe you. Yeah. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in and making us relevant again for the first time in forever. He's the most important player they've had in 20 years.
Okay, if you're a Miami fan, I don't think you really worry about it too much. But if I'm a teammate of Cam Ward, yeah, I'm kind of pissed because you took your individual accolades and made them the priority over us winning a football game. Like, yeah, we want to say Cam Ward's going to be a great NFL player and all this and where he's going to go in the draft. Great. There's a lot of guys in that team that played their final game that won't get to the NFL, that won't get to play another game again. And their last memory is going to be, all right, well, we did good in the first half, and then the second half, our starting quarterback decided, you know what, I got the record, we're all good.
Yeah.
Like that, I don't think that's right. And I think that should be criticized. Either you're all in or you're all out. You don't come in for a half and say, I got to make myself look good. Okay, cool, did it, now I'm out.
Austin, I get you're like old school, and I would be too in this most likely. But I'm going to give you the circumstance as simple as this, because I was actually surprised that Shedeur Sanders kept playing in that game. I was actually saying, get him out. He's a top 5 pick. Get him out.
Why haven't played in the first place?
Well, he was getting hammered.
Sure.
My point is the offensive line couldn't block for him. And so if all those things, you have to decide right now, sure, teammate, brotherhood, fraternity, all those things that linebacker that's going to go be a lawyer and everything else and be successful in life is going to talk about 20 years from now and not love Cam Ward for doing that in the second half? Or do I risk top 5 draft position by getting hurt? Like
Brett, that's the thing though.
That's a reality.
Okay, but with Sanders didn't have to play.
He didn't.
Why did Sanders play? Because I think he wanted to be out there for his teammates. Think he wanted to be out there for Colorado.
I think he wanted the commercial.
Okay. Maybe he wants the commercial.
There's definitely something self-motivated.
Okay. But did Sanders play the whole game or not? He played the whole game?
Did y'all know BYU won that game?
He played the whole game.
Yeah.
Did y'all know BYU won?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure because, the way that was broadcasted, you would have thought that it was just
gotcha. Yeah.
Shedeur and Travis talent show.
Come on, that was the story. It was definitely the story.
So regardless if it was endorsements or not, Sanders played the whole game. I believe he did. I don't think he came out. Yeah, so Sanders played the whole game.
For him to come out.
Yeah, so Sanders plays the whole game, all right, when he didn't have to. Now, if he would have sat out the whole game, I don't think anybody would have, you'd probably be the top quarterback taken. By all means, sit out. I have an issue when you decide to play for a half because you want to make an accolade and you want to set a record. Like, there's a difference there.
Yeah.
If Cam Ward would have said, you know what, I'm not playing this game, I think everybody would have been like, yeah, more power to you, man. You're about to go very high in the draft. You're a quarterback. We can't get you hurt. But then you want to go, hey, I want to play in this game just because I want to make my own stats and records look good. And once I accomplish those, then I'm sitting out. That's why I have the issue with it, Brent.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with the personal record thing is the line for me. I think if you come out ahead of time, because all of these guys release statements when they're declaring for the draft or whatever, say, hey, I want to go one last ride and suit up one last time with my teammates. However, to be honest, be straight up. I'm not trying to play a full 4-quarter game when I think I'm going to be a top pick and I want to focus on that. So I'm going to play a half. And I think everybody would have been like, at this point, all right, cool. We know ahead of time. We know what we're expecting. You're going to play a half. We still would have talked about it.
Yeah, maybe he did tell that to the guys. Maybe the guys knew that.
Well,
right?
But I'm talking media-wise.
Yeah, well, we don't need to know that.
Well,
or they could explain it. No, that's where Cristobal probably made an error, though. Like, he could have said, hey, listen, guys, we said this going in. We're like, he wanted to play, but he also got to worry about the future. Like, I don't understand why you can't be. We know what it is. Just say it.
Yeah.
Like, we know what it is. You don't have to hide it. You're not. This is where these guys think they're so much smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
They're hiding stuff that we don't know. We know, and then we form our own opinions. If you're transparent, we can hate it for a minute, and then you move on. The bottom line is you hate it, and I hate it, and we hate it. And when the guys were opting out of bowl games right away, what did we say? That's selfish. Like, you've been with them for 3-4 years. Like, and by the way, that time they've been there for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't even do that. Like, this dude just went to campus like 6 months ago.
Right.
Cam Ward. It's not like he's been like the heart and soul of Miami for the last 4 years. So I don't know. I think we got to get used to it.
I'm not getting used to that, Brent. There's no way. I'm not getting used to the Cam Ward thing. That's where I draw the line.
For a guy who Miami recruited away from the NFL draft last year, we should expect nothing less, though.
No, sure. But
literally, he was declared for the draft.
I'll get used to players opting out of the bowl games because, you want to affect your draft stock. I'll tolerate that all day. And I'll be honest, I was one of the people when it first happened, I'm like, you're quitting on your team. But then we saw players get hurt in bowl games, and it's like, I understand. There's millions of dollars at stake. If you want to sit out, then sit out. But what I'm not going to come with you on, and what I'm not going to support, what I'm not going to co-sign, is a player wanting to play half a game so he can make his stats and then sit out the second half of the game. That's where I'm drawing the line. I'm saying that's not right. I think that's very selfish. Like, because the game's not important to you. your stats are important to you. With Shedeur Sanders, was it extra money? Maybe, but at the end of the day, the game is still important to him. The game was not important to Cam Ward. The stats, getting the accolades, that was the important thing to Cam Ward.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm getting numb to this stuff, I guess, because I think I would have reacted that way a couple years ago. I've got so many other problems with college sports right now. And I just don't think this maybe just because it doesn't surprise me. Mm-hmm. We live in just a selfish, branding, accolade-driven, legacy-driven game. I mean, sports world. That's the way our world works in general. That's the way our sports world now works. And you somehow have to balance that between team sports and everything else. And I think this is where those worlds collide on a lot of different levels, from the business side to. I don't believe that he didn't want to play football. I just believe there was this educated kind of plan to say, well, we're going to minimize the risk by only playing 2 quarters, and we're going to get you a record. I mean, but the record is important to people these days, and especially at Miami, where you can put your name in the history books, which you did. And I think we're going to see more. Listen, I got high school kids telling me that on Twitter that they're transferring to another school.
Like that.
Like, I give a damn. And sure. Any of us should. Like, you're that important. Really. Like, any high school kid that's telling me that he's transferring from Mandarin to X school, or, sorry to use Mandarin, but X school to X school, stop it.
No.
Right? That's where I'm more mad about that than the Cam Ward stuff.
Okay. We had a 7-year-old, remember?
There's a difference, though, between an individual and just putting yourself out there and making a selfish decision. Like, okay, hey, check me out. And there's a difference between going out there for a half and saying, hey, guys, well, I'm not going to play the second half. Good luck. Hope you guys win. Like I said, I just think from a teammate perspective, that was like the crappiest thing you could ever did.
And it won't cost them at all.
You don't think NFL teams will?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Now, listen, if they wanted to change this, if they did worry about stuff like that, then they would knock them. But they're not going to. Somebody's going to need a quarterback. They're going to take the chance on them. And they're not going to worry about this at all. It's just a little footnote for a weekend, most likely. And that's why we continue with this snowball effect, because nobody does anything about it. They just look the other way and say, okay, that's right, we need a quarterback. Here you go. And I mean, that's no different than parenting your kids in that sense. But we're expecting the world to fix it, and it ain't going to fix it. It only kind of encourages it. All right, let's get back to the least we've ever talked about Jags on a Victory Monday. It's crazy. But, I mean, I really do think it was an inconsequential win in so many ways. Or are you bothered? There's so much talk now with the Giants and everything else.
What are they doing?
I don't understand why we, as fans and media and everybody else, don't understand this. And Austin will tell it to you. And I get it. And I think it's an interesting balance. But you might as well not look at Tankathon.
Oh, yeah.
Because the bottom line is, these guys don't do that. These guys don't do that. The players and the coaches don't do that. And another lesson in that yesterday in New York, with Las Vegas, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, quite frankly. And they just don't care about those kind of things. We'll talk more about it. Should they care more? And should the message come from the top down? But that Colts game and Giants game was a wild one in so many respects. We'll talk about it, plus the Jaguars and where they stand now going forward, plus the schedule of next year. I think that's the bigger part in many respects of the win yesterday. And is there a big difference? I want to get your thoughts on that. Is there a big difference between the third-place schedule and the fourth-place schedule for the Jacksonville Jaguars? We'll go there when we come back. Brent Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Happy New Year week as we go into 2025 here with this Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. We'll be approaching our one-year anniversary in late February. So how about that? Hope everybody is having a good start to the week. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue, a staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service, a meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, And they have delivery options too. Just download the Bonos app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bonos Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bonos Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jags Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242. You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing. Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Right now, save 10% off a new Rinnai tankless water heater. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Here on Spring Sports Media Day on Action Sports Jack.
It's an opportunity, an education beyond the classroom and the sports arena. Life skills, testing skills, social skills. It's called High School 912, a program focused on maximizing the growth of students in academics, sports, and life. And here's your chance to get involved. If you're a local business, or if you just want to make a donation to help support programs like ACT and SAT boot camps, career days, Leadership Academy, Financial Literacy Academy, and so much more.
All right, another Nice High School Panther, Jack Cole.
High School 912 supports and hosts high school sporting events and several media days throughout the year. For more information on how you can get involved, visit jackshighschool912.com.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Monday morning quarterback time, driven by your local Hyundai dealers, is joy in every journey. Finally, some joy in the Jags journey on Sunday. Speaking of quarterbacks, I'm not joy in your journey. I thought you were wrong on this. On the Jackson Dart is playing in the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, Hamby.
Hands up.
Way to finish the year the way you started it.
That's going to be a 10-yard penalty.
That's
15
like-
yard.
15.
Hey, by the way, Jackson Dart there's a little bit different situation. Like, where's he going to go? Where's he projected? Probably
Third.
Thinking mid? No? Third?
I was thinking like a third round draft, but I mean, who knows with the rankings? You never. Everybody's going to slide up, right?
Yeah.
But let's just see. I just jumped on a rankings page. Some people have Cam Ward ahead of Sanders, and then you got Milroe, who I've seen pretty high actually, and then Carson Beck's interest, right? He declares 2 for the draft,
Yep.
and we have no idea. His situation was pretty interesting because he could probably make more money in college than he might make in his first year in the NFL.
Man, don't you think he should have went back?
Well, it just depends. Like, a lot of people believe he wouldn't have gone back to Georgia. So did he want to go to but why not? Why wouldn't maybe a UNC, right?
Why
or
wouldn't he have
somebody
gone
like that?
back to Georgia? Because he's not playing that well? Or what?
Well, I think they got their next class in. Maybe time to move on. Like whatever. Do you think he would have gone back to Georgia if he had gone back to school, Hamby?
How can you not?
Yeah.
Well, because you become a free. I mean, the money. Just think, North Carolina is basically bidding for people. It seems like right now they're trying to get the Ewers and Manning situation could end up Michigan State offered like $4 million or something like that is the report. So you could have got those with Beck, depending on his health.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gabriel's in there. And Dart's like the 7th quarterback listed on this one, late day 2, early day 3. So that would project to be like the 3rd or 4th. You said mid around there. What I find interesting, the reason I bring that up in the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, the guy that I remember playing here before the draft, a big name quarterback, was Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I met him that week.
And Lamar Jackson played in that game.
Yep.
And played poorly, by the way. And I think he threw 3 picks in that game.
Brent's like, this could be the next wide receiver. Yeah.
I was so
Brent's like, better.
I'm not gonna lie.
Better put your gloves on and get ready to run some routes there,
listen,
Lamar.
when I'm watching Louisville football all the time,
I know.
but when you see it on TV, and then I was there, like you're watching it in person, and you're like, this ain't it.
Yeah. Who are they playing? Do you remember who they're playing?
Mississippi State?
Was that Mississippi State one?
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, I
And-
went to the luncheon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's just
Why? That's all right.
Buddy of mine and his dad went every year,
Okay.
part of with the Navy.
Okay.
And he had extra tickets. So
That's
I was
cool.
like, yeah.
And-
I got a picture with Lamar.
And Lamar was great that week, I think. And now we can't even go interview these guys during the week.
Oh, he's
they
untouchable, Brent.
well, not him. They close everything down. Like Ole Miss is closed. You can't even go to practice anymore. It's crazy. But welcome to college sports. But anyway, it's just funny how that was a 1-game sample. Obviously, it's not like I was a talent evaluator for the NFL draft. But if you, at the time, if I real life put myself in that situation, and the Jags were picking whatever, they end up picking Taven Bryan that year at 28. I'm like, I saw that. That wouldn't get me that excited at the 28th pick.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
all the
yeah.
questions around about receiver and quarterback, and everybody can now go back in hindsight and be like, I told you so. Well, be real about it. And I'm going to be real about it. I watched him up close, and I was like, I'm not telling you he should go to receiver.
Yeah.
I'm never in that camp. Like a lot of people said, Tebow should go to tight end and all these things. Like, hey, if you want to play quarterback, go play quarterback. I think position change is even harder than trying to be a good quarterback when you've been playing it for 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 years.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this is not going to work. And that was my thought. And it's worked. It's worked pretty handsomely, I would say. So my point is, you could see, a Jackson Dart playing in the game has some significance on Thursday night because that's a guy that could even slide up boards given the injury to Carson Beck, given what other people choose to do. And he also puts a lot at risk.
Yeah.
Much like these guys. Why is he playing in this game?
He's going to be a combine darling, though.
Yeah, maybe. He's got a lot of swag to him, right? So are they going to do the same thing, though? Are they going to do the same thing that Cam Ward just did? Where he plays, and I don't know if it's chasing records or not, I'm not sure, but plays for a little bit, says, I want to be with my guys, but then, hey, I'm going to get out of there. And from a program standpoint, depending on who they have, in the backup or a young guy, like, why not transition into that guy and get him some action, too?
You want to see him.
Right? And the one thing about the Miami game is they were running all over
Iowa State.
Yeah, I was like, who the hell did they play? I've seen so many damn games. But yeah, they were running all over them in that second half. It's not like their offense was bad after. Their offense was really good in the first half. But anyway, so Dart is playing, which should be maybe fun to watch. That Ole Miss should roll Duke.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the one bad thing about this game. It looks like it'll be, if they care about it, Lane Kiffin will be tweeting again soon.
Anyways.
Oh, Monday morning. Well, look at that. That was Monday morning quarterbacking you.
That was the segment.
And I was Monday morning quarterback myself with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And on Monday morning quarterback Mac Jones a little bit. Mm-hmm. Mac Jones what's he going to do next year? We had him on Jaguars All Access the other day. I was talking to him a little bit off air, and I was like, "Are you looking forward to this, or is it kind of unsettling?" He's like, "I can't wait." Huh. That was a very interesting remark. It's like, I can't wait for the unknown.
Huh.
And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, because, he's been, he's obviously at Bowls, and he was at Alabama forever, and then he got picked by New England, and then there was a little unknown there in his future, but it was different. Like, and the other thing he did tell me, he's like, I'm also looking for a little break. He's like, these guys get so beat up. Like, you really, I do appreciate the human nature of what he had to go through.
Yeah.
I mean, to try to replace Tom Brady, to be in that heater of a market where the Patriots aren't playing well with all the Belichick stuff going on and everything else, and you're living that, and you got to wear that, and you're 23, 24, 25 years old, and now I think he has a chance to go take a breath, kind of get a fresh start. I think that's why he appreciated being here, quite frankly. But it sounds like he doesn't think he's going to be here. He wants a chance to be a starting quarterback. Is he going to get that chance?
Yeah. I mean, I can see where he's excited because he kind of gets to choose now, right? It's really the first time where he's kind of got control of his destiny a little bit. So I can definitely see where that would excite a player. I don't think it's going to be obviously a starter right away. Like, I think a team will bring him in. Maybe. I mean, I don't even see really a 3-year deal. I think it's going to be a 1-year, backup deal, and then maybe you get an opportunity. Maybe you get brought into while you bring up a rookie quarterback or something like that. But, like, I don't see him necessarily being a starter next year.
I feel like Jones is going to get a chance. Now, I get what you're saying. I don't think he's necessarily going to be like that guy. I don't think Sam Darnold's going anywhere. I think the Vikings are going to keep him. I think they almost have to.
It's hard not to justify it, but it's gonna be a big contract.
I think it'll be a middle contract.
Really?
I don't like when you say big, you think it's going to be like 5 years, $50 million deal.
I mean, I think with the numbers that he's putting up, how can you not put him like a top 6 paid quarterback?
Well, here's one thing you could do if you really wanted to. You could franchise him.
Yeah, but do you think? I mean, for sure.
No, wait a minute. You could. Yeah, you could.
But what is that? $40 million?
Well, it's better than taking a 5-year investment when you got a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do contract-wise. I'm just saying, if I had to bet on it right now, I don't know how they can get rid of him.
So do you think it's going to be the tag, or do you think they're going to give him a new contract?
I feel like they'll come to a deal like a 3-year type of contract, and it'll be good money. Whatever that is, it'd be like $40 million a year. I don't think it will get to you're our franchise guy for 5 years, $55 million, young guy kind of contract that we've seen with the Trevors and the Burrows and everybody else.
Sure. Well, you may have to tag him though to avoid that because he may want that. I don't know why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah. And we'll see how confident a guy like O'Connell is and being like, well, I can get J.J. McCarthy to do this too.
Man, yeah, I hear you. But it's really it's probably the craziest story, would you say, in football? Of just the emergence of the Vikings and Sam Darnold, where nobody gave him any snowflake's chance in hell of doing anything this year.
I mean, I saw, if you saw the broadcast last night, it was like 6.5 was the over-under.
Oh, I had the under.
Yes.
That was my pick. I had the under. Oh, I had the under. I had the under and then some.
I don't understand how Minnesota's this good, but it's amazing. I mean, listen, I think O'Connell's really good. I think they've got good coaches in that division.
Sure.
I mean, really good coaches.
Good players, too.
And it's working for them. And they do have very good players. I mean, they've got stars. They do have stars. But what they've been able to do, look at teams and how they replace. And that's what impresses me. Look at what Detroit's done. I've brought this up a million times. Look what they got rid of their running backs and got like 20 touchdowns combined in a season. Boom, replaced them. They get rid of Hawkinson, replace him.
Yeah.
Look at what Minnesota's done. You get rid of Donnell Hunter. You go get guys like they've got Grenard, right?
Van Ginkel,
Grenard, right?
He's
those kind of
Wisconsin
guys.
dude. Yeah.
You get Aaron Jones. Glenn C says yes. A lot of, but look what Green Bay did. Okay, get rid of Aaron Jones, like player we think it might be running out. We're going to go get Josh Jacobs. Worked out for them just fine, right?
Yeah.
Look at how they replace, right? You replenish and replace, and look, these teams are good at it.
Van Ginkel's got 11.5 sacks this season.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, look at in terms of replace. Now, when you have stars and stuff, it's easy to replace. But look at Kansas City. Look how they replace. Look at Baltimore. Look how they replace.
We're still trying to find Jalen Ramsey's replacement. I mean, and Campbell could be that guy, but he's not right now.
No, it's not right now. It's not even close. So that's what's impressive to me is how these teams replace. New England did it for a long time. Of course, they had the steady hand in the quarterback and the coach. So it's easier to do it when you have those two guys. So Reed and Mahomes, it's easier to shuffle guys in. You can miss and it doesn't mean anything, or it doesn't mean as much.
Yeah.
But what Minnesota's done is really something. And again, I mean, you're talking about a quarterback who's been put in a situation where that's a pretty damn good situation now. If you can pass block at all, you've got Aaron Jones in the backfield. You've got Hawkinson, a first top 10 pick as your tight end, and you've got stud receivers.
But that's the thing, and this is why we started the show off with this. Why can't the Jaguars have that? What I mean,
they're just not good enough at doing it.
Offensive line?
No, they're just not good enough at doing it.
Okay. But and I'm not saying you have Justin Jefferson, but you got a guy that has the makings to be a Justin Jefferson. You have your tight end. I mean, obviously Aaron Jones gets advantage over, I think, Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne, but I mean, Cam Akers doesn't really do anything for you.
No,
what is he on his fourth team?
Guy. Yeah, just complimentary guy at this stage.
So I do like the 1-2 punch if we can get some blocking for Etienne and Tank. So it's like, all right, then what are we missing? Offensive line?
I think the offensive line's been fine. I think you can put this offensive line in Minnesota and probably be okay.
So that's the coach then.
I think it's a little bit of coaching. I think it's a feel good of everything going on, and that snowballs in a different way than what this is snowballed into. And I think there is some play calling involved in that. Listen, this guy's from the McVay tree. Here's the other thing I said. I watched St. Louis. I watched Los Angeles play the other day, and I'm like, how many wins would that staff have with this roster here in Jacksonville? And I don't know the answer to that. There's not a hard answer to that. My point is it's more than 3. It might not be 10, but it might not be far from 10. I mean, how talented is Los Angeles? Offensively, they got some talent. But look what they did. They got rid of Donald. They got rid of Ramsey. They got rid of a lot of those pieces. And look what they did in terms of replenish and replace. They go get the 2 FSU guys in Fisk and Verse, and they've been awesome. Mm-hmm. But they've been awesome in part because they're pretty good players. We knew that. Their first 2-round picks, I think, were those guys. But they obviously are getting a lot out of them, too, coaching-wise. So and this isn't just again, I come from the point of view that I think Doug's a pretty good coach. I wonder if his offense has now gotten stale. I wonder if who's hearing his voice or Press Taylor's voice makes a difference. I've wondered that all year. Who's calling the plays? But I think, somewhere in there is the coaching part of this, the culture part of this. I think you could take this football team when healthy and put it in a lot of different situations this year and would have got different results. And that, to me, is an indictment on, obviously, this staff in front office for not being able to figure out whatever those pieces are. I hear a lot of sound bites from other teams after they win. It's like, okay, you can put that sound bite right here. This is just winning and losing. The only thing is winning and losing. Look at I'll tell you what Minnesota does. Do you see the stat during the game? Close games. He's got like the second best record in the history of the game in close games over these last 3 years.
Can finish.
The Jags aren't good in that. Is that a coaching thing? What gets you over the top of that? It's not just Justin Jefferson is my point.
No, I think it's a coaching thing, but also it's got to be a quarterback thing too, because that's crunch time. That's when the game's on the line.
Yeah.
But
he's playing with so much confidence. Remember we had this conversation earlier in the year when he was pumping up Darnold, and then we were talking about other guys pumping up their guy. Who did it? Who did it the most that we heard? Oh, it was Harbaugh. Harbaugh was doing that with Herbert. Right? And it's like, man, look at all these guys pumping them up. And look at here in Jacksonville, it's like, we could be better, or it sounded like we could be better. It wasn't necessarily we could be better, but it wasn't also like he's the greatest.
Sure,
you know, there was, but O'Connell does a great job of that. What O'Connell has done is he's infused confidence back in Sam Darnold, a guy who had totally lost it.
Yeah. And it comes down to, like, do you think Sam, it's more of a confidence thing, or is it also a talent thing? Because I remember, I think it was week 2, maybe it was week 1, I can't remember, but they had Bill Belichick on the Manning cast. And Bill Belichick said that Sam Darnold is very, very slept on as a great quarterback. He said it just didn't work out in New York because they didn't know how to use him. But he said, like, around NFL circles, everyone thought that Sam Darnold could be like that guy. And now it's finally coming to fruition. So it comes down to, yeah, maybe you need confidence, but, like, how much talent are you really capable of? Like, look at Bo Nix. Like, I don't know, is Sean Payton really elevating Bo Nix? Like, is he out there championing his quarterback? I don't know. Maybe he is. I haven't seen Sean Payton really say anything about Bo Nix. But, like, Bo Nix, I mean, when the game was on the line, pulled one out of his you-know-what and threw a 50-yard dart in the end zone to Sutton, I think it was, to go to overtime. Like, that was wild. Like,
I was a little lucky.
Okay. I think it was still a great throw.
That was a great throw, but it was lucky. I mean, you beat double coverage on a jump ball. Mims did.
Falling backwards.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, okay, man.
No, but you're bringing up one play, and I'm dissecting.
I'm bringing up crunch time. Yeah, but I'm totality, but also, like, in crunch time when it matters the most, when you gotta have it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got to be the player.
Yeah,
none of these guys are picked number 1 overall or top 5 overall without talent.
For sure.
Baker Mayfield's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield didn't do it.
Yeah,
now he's doing it. You have got to give. I think what I saw this week. And this is what I've said this a lot of times about Trevor. That's why I thought playing the last 6 games was important if there was going to be success. How much can you continue to overcome? How much scar tissue? We have seen scar tissue that is tough from a human standpoint to overcome. I think Matt's dealing with a little bit of that right now with his play and everything to get us into this conversation. I think you go back to Gabbert. You played with him. It's tough to overcome some of that. I don't know how good he would have been, but in a different situation, where if he sat and didn't have all that, he would have been better situated to perform to his best ability.
Yeah, I mean, we said it all the time on the show. The problem with Gabbert is that he wasn't ready to be the starter.
That's right.
He had all the tools, all the intangibles. He just wasn't, because nobody thought he was ready. They just kind of pulled the rug from under him and said, hey, you're going in. So he wasn't ready for it.
So then there was how much confidence? I mean, you could see it on Blake Bortles. When he had confidence in the swagger and then when he didn't. Right? So what I really saw this weekend and what we're talking about here, you took it Darnold, what you haven't seen, the talent hasn't changed. He was always a talented guy. He is a talented guy. You've seen his confidence change. Sure. And I think that's where O'Connell is great. I really do. I saw he went up to, was it Caleb Williams? Or no, it was Anthony Richardson. It was Anthony Richardson he pumped up. No, it's not even his guy. And he was pumping him up. Like, to me, that shows you who he is. He's a player's guy, but he coaches with almost like admiration, right? And tries to build confidence in you. And very much like Gus. Gus was that way.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not telling you it always works. I'm just telling from that position, do these guys need a pat on the back? No, I don't think so. I think they're athletes. They want to be coached hard, all that stuff. But I think when all they hear, or a lot of times you hear the negativity, because very few times the outside world is praising you from that position. They're more getting on you when you make the mistake. Even if you throw 3 touchdowns and make them, they get on you about the mistake you made.
Sure.
I think internally you need more of that. Hey, man, you're the guy. You're the guy. You got this. You're better than the guy over there. I mean, you got to continuously say that. And I think you're seeing Harbaugh say that. I think you're seeing O'Connell say that. I think you're seeing Cohen and Bowles and those guys do this to Baker Mayfield and see it. And then you see the opposite of it. And what I saw this weekend with the Houston Texans, holy cow, I've seen that before in Jacksonville. That is a dude that is shook.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, isn't that amazing when you can see that jump off? Just how shook a guy is who was so good a year, who was playing with all the confidence that I just mentioned.
Yep.
Like he could throw it outside the stadium and hit a guy.
Yeah.
Running down the highway.
How much of it falls? I mean, obviously it's all on him. I get it. But once again, I would say he's probably the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, hands down. Like, offensive line's doing him zero favor. Like, Maybe no. I think Caleb Williams is probably the most sacked quarterback.
Caleb Williams has 67 sacks. He's the most hit quarterback like in the history of the game.
But I feel like Stroud's got to be up there as well.
Stroud second, 52.
Okay. It's amazing what I feel like an offensive line can do. Once again, it goes back to what do you need? Do you go the Jim Harbaugh approach? Do you go offensive line, or do you go weapons like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and they did in Cincinnati? Both are working. I guess it's kind of pick your poison. Yeah, I mean I thought Stroud was going to be great. I thought Stroud was going to maybe be elite this year, but I also thought that Diggs, Nico, Tank would play in the whole season. You see, once you lose your weapons, you're not that quarterback to elevate everybody around you. I think Jordan Love sometimes gets slept on for what he's done because, yeah, it's easy to say that you're the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers and everything, and you were kind of groomed to be the next guy, and you minded your time. Okay, great. Who are you throwing to? How many quarterbacks can take the Green Bay roster and say, "Hey, go out, go have a good time, go put up 30 points a game," like Jordan Love can? I'm not sure how many quarterbacks can do that. Yeah, here's the sacks here. Damn, so Darnold's been sacked a little bit too.
A lot. Now he's not going to escape much, but
true.
But yeah, I mean, this comes down to play calling. I think O'Connell's a very good play caller. Hey, Slowick, everybody's off the train. Remember, he was it was like bring him on over as the head coach. Everybody's off the Slowick train now that he's the offense coordinator in Houston.
Okay.
And here's the thing that gets, listen, we just praised Joe Burrow. Burrow's actually not even as high on this list, but he's always sacked, it seems like. His offensive line always stinks. So Stroud isn't him, is to the point, right? He's not Burrow. At least he's not able to rise above all that and figure it out. Not yet, at least.
But this is the frustrating part, though, because this is, okay, so we got the top 7 most, this is obviously the most sacked quarterbacks, right, Hamby? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll see you later, Caleb Williams, and we'll see you later, Geno Smith. But these other guys, it seems like they have the ability to elevate that around them. And maybe Geno does a little bit, because Geno's had a pretty decent season, all things considered. But I don't say it's frustrating, because we see what happens here in Jacksonville, but I think it does say something to these players where you have the Jane Daniels who won last night. You have Justin Herbert who's taken his team to the playoffs. You have Joe Burrow who I think should be in the MVP consideration. You have Sam Darnold who might have the best NFC record in the league. You have Stroud who's not that guy and Caleb Williams not that guy. But everybody else, it's like they found a way to overcome those deficiencies and maybe elevate their play in spite of those deficiencies.
Yeah, I listen, there's a lot that goes into it, and I'm not going to rip on Stroud. I'm just saying, where is he? We don't know where he is. And even Slowick, I think the shine is off him a little bit, and you can't blame it just on the offensive line, although there's a lot to blame on the offensive line. I think, see that right column there where you see percentages?
Okay.
I mean, look at Geno Smith despite being sacked. Look at his percentage. Is that good play calling? I would say, yeah. Darnold, same thing, 60. To be able to have that kind of percentage up around 70% and be sacked the amount of times that you are, I think says a lot about the play calling. I think they're in good situations to be able to figure it out and work with an offensive line that might be deficient.
I mean, you still have to get the ball there. Like, you still have to throw the ball to your receivers.
Oh, no, but I think everybody would be, if they didn't have this many sacks, everybody would be up even 2 or 3 more points. Like Caleb Williams might be up 5 more points or 8 more points if he wasn't getting sacked 67 times.
Sure.
So it impacts. But these guys are still throwing to that high percentage with the amount of sacks. Tells me they got good play callers too.
Okay.
They're doing a good job in their offense to be able to throw it at that high of a percentage and get hit the amount of times they're getting hit. So it's really just a compliment of both. And look at Stroud. Look at his percentage. Way down, right? Way down, and he's getting hit. To me, it says, okay, the play caller hasn't figured that out, and Stroud isn't playing above, to your point, the X's and O's. Because there were a couple of plays in that game the other day where I saw him outside the pocket, and I was like, oh, I've seen him make that play. He still makes a play out of that. He's comfortable in that spot. One of the great things about Stroud last year, I thought, was he did a great job of creating space for himself. They did it in their offense. Even with their offensive line wasn't great last year. Remember, they ran through a couple different versions of it too. And I thought he created space. He was able to figure it out. And then outside the pocket, he was able to improvise. Off-platform stuff, he was able to get it done. And I don't think he's doing that right now. And I think what I saw when it just clicked in my mind, I was like, man, this dude is not playing with the confidence that he had at all. Like, he is look at him, because when you make off-platform throws To me, that shows swagger and confidence. That actually that's what makes Mahomes so good. That's what makes Lamar so good. People feed off that because it's not the way it's supposed to look. And I even go back and listen. Listen, we have some sample size of Trevor playing good football.
Sure.
Not every time Trevor played good football was he throwing from a clean pocket. He was able to throw on the run a little bit. He was making a throw here or there, off schedule, off platform. And he's not going to do that all the time, but he showed the capability of doing that. And to me, that's where swagger gets built. Look at Baker Mayfield right now. If you have a vision of Baker Mayfield in your head at the moment, mine is not him sitting there in a clean pocket and just throwing the ball. Mine is actually one leg in the air, throwing the ball and finding whoever, right? Like that's Mike Evans and it working. That's the vision I have when guys are playing good football, is that off-platform stuff, off schedule. I think it comes with so much confidence. And what I watch with Stroud is like, dude, he's never just sit in the pocket guy anyway, because their offensive line hasn't been good for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And he can't even make those plays that he was making last year right now because he just isn't feeling it.
But what I don't get, though, is like everybody wants to be critical of Stroud. Like, okay, I get it. But like if you look at last year, he goes 9-6. He's 9-7 right now. Okay. His completion percentage last year was 63.9. Percentage this year is 62.7. Okay.
Pretty low. I wouldn't have guessed it was that low last year.
Yeah. He had 4,100 yards passing last year. He's got 3,600. So that's obviously a difference. He's got 23 touchdowns last year. He's got 19 touchdowns this year. And then the big number is 5 interceptions last year, 12 interceptions this year.
Yep.
He got sacked last year 38 times. He's been sacked 52 times this year. Yeah, I get you watch him and it does not look good. And obviously I think he's missing Stephon Diggs. I'm not trying to make up excuses for CJ Stroud at all. But I'm saying, like, why were we so quick to champion him last year and saying he's the next big thing with the numbers, but this year where there are some comparable things and it's like, yeah, he sucks.
Because I think we go back to the numbers a lot, and I think the numbers are something. I think it's what it looks like. I mean, it totally didn't look like this last year.
Sure.
Like when I said, hey, he looks shook, when I teased that, you were like, yeah, he does.
Yeah,
Like,
because he keeps getting sacked.
Yeah, I think it's bigger than that, though. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I do think I'm fine making. It's not making excuses. Those are realities. Like, yeah, he's getting hit more, and he hasn't had guys as much. But he also isn't in a confident flow and rhythm, which you wouldn't really feel that way given his record and the fact that they're AFC South champs.
Sure.
Like you'd think there'd be enough to build on. He just does not look like the same guy. And whether that's because he's been sacked 14 more times, which really in the grand scheme of things, is that much more? That's one more a game. One more a game. Now, is there a totality effect on that?
Well,
Maybe.
and I feel like if you got more sacks, it means you're probably getting pressured
Probably getting
more,
hit
so
more,
then
yeah.
you're getting hit more. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Yeah. But hey, here's the other thing I would say. He's got a better run. Mixon's been really good this year for him. So he's got that to offset some of this stuff. I just think it's not just him. This is why you got to be careful to crown people too, though.
Oh,
after
for
one
sure.
year, right?
Yeah.
Because there's this ebb and flow of the league, and I think we're seeing both ends of it this year. I think we're getting Stroud where it's like, okay, wait a minute now. He had a very good rookie year, but the league caught up to him a little here, or his team caught up to him, or they didn't take that next step as play caller and quarterback or whatever. So now year 3 becomes a little bit more of, all right, we got a sample of this, a sample of that. We'll see where it goes. Well, then you got the Bakers, and then you got the Darnolds. And these guys came back from the dead, man. They were gone. And the job that those guys are doing, this is what should excite you about even golf. This is what should excite you if they make a coaching change here in Jacksonville, and it's a Cohen or it's a Ben Johnson. I think what's very appetizing for me is to say, we got a guy in Trevor Lawrence that's not nearly as, I would say, damaged from a confidence standpoint and everything else as the Darnolds and Mayfields were. And Goff's even to that matter. If you go back and listen to some of the things Goff was saying as he got traded to Detroit. And they were able to fix these guys,
Yeah.
And not all. I mean, because you're not going to have a Kevin O'Connell, okay? But I don't know about fix is the right word, because even Cohen, if we're keeping it real, he got a Baker that actually had signed the extension. He didn't fix necessarily Baker Mayfield. Mayfield had it going last year. And so, but at least they've been around the guy that hasn't had it all work out well for him. It's going to be totally different to go coach Patrick Mahomes than it is to coach some of these guys that have talent that is there, untapped. And we know this. Don't we think this, that Trevor has untapped talent still? It's in there.
Yeah.
I just don't think they found it all yet.
No,
Or
for sure.
Maybe that's them, maybe that's him. But for whatever reason, and we don't know if it will be found, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But there's definitely more stuff in there, we all believe.
We do. It's just, it sucks that we're going into, year 5 now of the experiment, and we're still trying to find it.
Well, and listen, Kyler Murray's a great example of this, too. I mean, he's a guy that he is so inconsistent that you see some of the talents, and then the guy can't win when it matters at all.
Sure.
Like you talk about that clutch stuff, right? He can't do any of that. So the next guy to keep an eye on is going to be Daniels, by the way. Jaden Daniels is having a very Stroud-like year. Where it's like, dang, look at this guy. He's Lamar Jackson 2.0.
Yep.
But is the league going to correct? And my big concern with him, much like we had concern for Lamar Jackson, is he going to stay healthy? Because he's out there a lot.
He is out there a lot. But at the same time, don't you feel like you have more confidence if you are a dual threat guy? Like Stroud doesn't have that going for him. Like Stroud's more, like Stroud can take off and get you a couple, but he's not a dual threat quarterback. I feel like if you come into the league as a dual threat quarterback and you've shown, sorry AR, but you've actually showed that you're a competent quarterback who can pass a little bit and then rely on your wheels as well, I think that's a great combination, having a great, if you can stay healthy, having great success in the NFL.
I think you're right on, man. There was like a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1 or something I went for yesterday. I'm like, this is easy. Just have him run. Like, how do you defend it? And, I mean, they couldn't. He ran for like 4 yards and boom. It's really, he's fast. That was really the first time I've sat down to watch
Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, last night. Like, watch him since college. And you're reminded just how fast he is. It was like watching Brian Thomas Jr. yesterday. It's like, man, he's fast.
Well, again, and they're starting to...
It's like fast. Fast is fast. Like Atlanta, they threw a pass to the back yesterday. Was it Bijan? Yeah, it must have been Bijan. And you're like, it was a little swing pass. And when he got the edge, it's like, damn, he's fast. and like, I don't see that with ETN. I'm going to be honest, and I love ETN. You guys know I'm a big believer in ETN. But I don't see that kind of burst. Everybody talks about how fast he is and game-breaking he is. I have not seen that transcend to the NFL. It was a college thing in a wide-open ACC where nobody was playing defense, where everything seems like you got 5 yards of real estate around you. I don't see that as much with ETN in the NFL. I see it with Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
I see it with guys like Bijan Robinson. I saw it with Jaden Daniels. You see it with a guy like Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. When they hit the gear, it's like, whoa, that looks different. The Jags don't have enough of that, is my point.
No.
These good teams have the team speed. I think a notch above still the Jags. And they tried to go get more team speed. I'm not saying they're slow. But the Jags aren't fast enough. I think as I look at, maybe they just play faster because everything's working.
You think the lines are fast?
My mind goes to Gibbs and Jamison Williams.
James Williams fast, but so is Brian Thomas Jr.
How about on defense?
Well, they don't have anybody left, Brent.
Well, that's true.
They're just trying. They're just trying to survive.
I hear
defense.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
And by the way,
but
outside of Lamar, I wouldn't say the Ravens are fast.
Yeah, I mean you had Zay, but
yeah, but they're more physical.
Yeah, see that's the thing. I think you're either physical or you're fast.
Yeah, yeah. At least from a optics standpoint.
But what are the Eagles?
Both.
Yeah,
they are both. The Eagles are interesting. You brought up the Eagles because I wonder if Shad Khan will look at the Eagles.
Okay.
And keep Doug Peterson. Oh
boy.
We'll be back on the Brent Austen Show. Hey, happy 100th birthday!
No way. Her right there?
Yeah.
Looks.
There's no way she's on.
Doesn't look a day over 60.
It's unbelievable.
Did they card her, or is this some kind of scam? She looks great.
Yeah, Mac Jones went over and said happy birthday to her.
Oh, this could be a scheme.
100 years old. She really should have said, I survived the Jags. Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt. And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jax 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices or pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hold it up.
That's a tight shot here.
Hold it up.
Oh, hang on.
What camera are you at?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, yeah, you got to point us in the right direction here.
Way too big, though. Hate it.
Look at this.
Way too big. I hate it.
By the way, all right, give us the background here. You had an old iPhone 8. Which was, most people will say the iPhone 8 was like the best one made.
Goated.
Zero complaints.
Right?
Now,
it was the size of like
a phone. Hey, do you know what was the size of? It was the size of a phone.
like Tic Tacs.
It was the size of a phone, is what it was.
It's like watching something on a box of Tic Tacs.
It was the size of a phone is the correct answer to that. Where, it fits in your pocket, it's all good, size of a phone. But yes, got a new phone.
So I want to know how this happened. Did you go because you're like, I need a new phone, or did you just land at the store and be like, I'm going to check this out if I need an upgrade?
You know what?
What?
Kept on getting, this is probably for the past year now.
Getting bullied.
Well, yeah, kept getting just random text messages saying, hey, you're eligible for an upgrade. And eventually it's like, hey, you going to come in or not? That's what it turned out to be. I'm like, all right, let me go. Let me go see what I can do here, because I'm getting ready to go on the road, South Florida, get my camp in. And I know we're talking about, Brent, where, we have to go into the new year. It's all about enhancing the show and getting the best possible show that we can get. So I'm like, well, maybe if I get a new phone, the camera quality would be better, the sound quality could be better, and that would enhance the show. So
Sounds like a tax write-off.
That too. So
get that too. Before.
Yep.
Get it before getting that LLC.
So yeah, I go in and they're like, of course we can upgrade you. Like, where you been?
I appreciate you thinking about the show.
Honestly, that's all I thought about.
25.
I'm not gonna lie, that's all I thought about. Because if it wasn't for the show, I still have the old. I don't care. And I'm not gonna lie, don't like how big this thing is. Don't like it how it fits in my pocket. It's like an iPad.
But you don't even have. Is mine bigger?
Probably. Yeah, because see, I have the choice to get the 3 cam. I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm all set.
Because I got what do they call that?
Well, actually, hold up. Are we comparing? I mean, we might be the same size.
Mine bigger than yours?
Yeah, we're the same size. Jeez. Dump it. Go ahead and dump that. Can't even, get it in now, Brent, before the new year starts and the show it reaches an echelon of professionalism.
Nah,
we're good. We're good.
I'm still rocking the 13 mini.
Let's go. Wait, Hamby, do you have a mini phone too?
Yeah, I have a mini.
So then why was I getting made fun of all the time for my phone being too small?
Because it was just that, plus it was the 8.
Well, no, it's not only that.
Difference?
It's like your hands are the size of like
some.
I mean, those are registered
Johnny Bench
weapons,
over here, you know what I'm saying?
And you're holding a Tic Tac box in your hand as a phone.
I'm holding a phone.
I mean, it looks like I'm playing like on Mattel.
Oh, see, Hamby. Trade, Hamby? Hamby, you going to trade?
I'm good.
How's the camera on that one?
Mine is the whole size of my hand.
But here's the thing. It takes 2 hands to text and everything, right? That's what I'm doing.
Well, most of the time. I don't
know. Are you on one hand?
The bigger,
are you on one hand?
The thumb exercises here are legit.
Okay, because I feel like one hand's risky, man. You got to drop that thing, crack it.
It's really hard to text and drive with just one hand. I mean, with 2 hands.
Well, wait.
I've become a professional.
I'm kidding people.
He's
not really.
He's not at all, actually. I mean, the dude texts 22 hours a day. Yeah, I think some of those hours a day he's on the road driving.
It's Siri. She's my friend.
That's I think Mom's off today too. She's listening. My mom's big into talk to text.
Oh yeah,
I can't do it, man.
Some stuff really is wild when that happens. Isn't it?
I can't because it always gets messed up, and then she has to go in and say sorry. I'm like, man, I can't. No, I'm like, more power to her, but I'm saying I couldn't do that.
But you'll see Siri is better on the upgraded phone.
It's not bad.
No, it will. No, so it will make out things. Yeah, like that's been one of their enhancements.
Yeah,
over the years.
Oh, you want to know what we did over the break too? You know the new thing on Google where it's like the AI? I forgot what it's called. It's like an app you can download. It's like you can have like a conversation with it.
I don't know.
The commercial. I don't know, Ham. You can look it up. I can look it up too. I can stop being lazy, I guess.
I haven't really done the AI stuff much.
Okay, so Google's got, it's kind of like Siri, but it's like Siri on steroids.
Okay.
Right? It's like Siri, that's juiced to the gills.
Gemini,
yeah. So you can go to Gemini and you can just have literally a conversation with Gemini. Like, hey, Gemini, how's it going? And then, yeah, back and forth. Like, if you're lonely, check it out. But the crazy thing, dude, it's so intricate. So my son, we go, hey, Gemini, does Austen Lane have any children? And Gemini goes, yes, he has one. Ronan Lane, he was at his dad's last fight, and his dad really loves him very much. And I'm just like, well, first of all, thanks a lot, Gemini. But second of all, it's like, hey, I'm like, my 9-year-old's like on the grid.
That is wild.
And he's freaked out.
Was he freaked out?
He was freaked out. I was kind of freaked out.
Yeah.
Because I try to keep him on the DL a little bit, but I guess when we're parading him on the show now, he's doing the gritty and everything. There's only so much I can hide him, you know?
That's
and then
wild.
for Christmas, you got him the book 1984.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes full circle.
At least it worked.
I see a Hamby with some culture. Brent, 1984? Not even now.
Was it Jump? Van Halen?
You've read 1984, bro.
No, I haven't.
What? This guy.
19.
George Orwell? Orwellian Society?
I never read 1984.
Big Brother?
Yeah, it's fine, man.
Whatever.
But the Van
Have you
Halen
read
thing was. Yeah, of course. That's the Electric Sheep, right? Aren't they in it too?
Electric Sheep.
The Electric Sheep?
You've read it?
I've read it. I got it.
It was written in 49.
They have Cliff Notes version?
Yeah. You should
Yeah,
read it.
basically
It's literally our society.
Yeah, it's like it kind of told the future of what we were gonna be.
They nailed it?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Oh, I'm
Screens
living in it.
everywhere,
I'm
everybody
living in it.
listens.
Why the hell do I
Yeah.
need to read about it?
Jaguars winning Super Bowls. It's all in
Whoa.
there. No.
Not that one.
Won't find
Not
that.
that edition isn't out
You're
yet.
not gonna, maybe we should write something into existence.
I thought Jump and Van Halen was pretty good.
No, that was fantastic.
That was, yeah.
And I guess Hamby got it. I didn't know if Hamby was gonna. It's kind of before his time, but Hamby's also a music guy, so he maybe got
I thought
that.
that was a hell of a pull.
Great
I
intro.
didn't know you were talking about a book. Is there a movie too?
No.
I don't.
They didn't make that one into a movie?
So.
Just real life.
No. Yeah.
Hey, before the break, I said, will Shad Khan look at the Philadelphia Eagles? We're a week away from Black Monday. Everybody thinks, and I know everybody hopes, they're going to make a reset here in Jacksonville. We have this conversation all the time. Over the holidays, how many times did you have this conversation with people or in general, right? Like, what are they going to do? They got to move on, right? Are they going to, and I say, listen, first of all, nobody knows. And I think if you watch some of the reports over the weekend, I appreciate the report, Jonathan Jones, the CBS. Yeah. All you got to do is watch that one. And you're like, yeah, they know nothing. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, and it's true. We don't. Like, I'm not criticizing. We don't know. Shad keeps this so close. I always say, and I might be wrong about this, but I don't even think Tony Khan knows.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't think we know what he's going to do. Now, by this time, I would think his mind is pretty made up. There's nothing that can change it.
I would hope
right?
so, Brent.
But I'm not convinced that he makes moves. And as I look around the league, Nick Sirianni won his 13th game yesterday. And I look back and I'm like, they had a collapse like the Jags did last year. And it was going down. And in Philly, we know it's a shorter rope than a place like Jacksonville or everywhere else, right?
Sure.
Well, what they did there, now Roseman is going to be the guy. Roseman has been a good GM. He wasn't in trouble anyway. But it was more like, should we keep Sirianni? And he said, get rid of your coordinators. Now, he already had to overcome that a little bit because his other coordinators had gone to the Arizona and Indianapolis job and Gannon and Steichen. Mm-hmm. So really, for a third straight year, this time around, because he had to let him go, I believe, they have new coordinators again. Mm. So they make these changes. Could Shad go there with Doug only? Let's leave Trent out of this for a minute. Could Shad say, well, continuity with Doug, I want him to get a new staff. I want him to call plays, and we're going to reboot the staff but keep Doug. Any chance?
I mean, are you saying in my eyes or just in
Shad's word.
Sure, probably there's a chance. Yeah, why not? There shouldn't be. Because I think if you want to compare it to Philly, Jalen Hurts was hurt and could barely go. Like, that led to the collapse. That led to the downfall. And when we say about the collapse of the Jaguars that year, yeah, I mean, we can say it was Doug Peterson, but it was also, losing Trevor Lawrence and having him being hurt. They had a lot to do with it. That's, I mean, you can call it an excuse or whatever, but like that's the fact. The fact with the Philly downfall is if Jalen Hurts would have been healthy and 100%, I don't think it goes down like that. So to answer the question, no, I don't think that you should consider it because, once again, you had Trevor Lawrence healthy this year, and when he was healthy, what did it look like? And if we want to go with all right, well, let's go ahead and we'll try and bulky whatever is over there. But now, Doug, okay, you bring in your guys who you want, you run it how you want, but now you got to call the plays. Shouldn't that have been done this year? Shouldn't that have been the narrative the entire year? Where if you're trying to win games, maybe you call the plays, maybe you structure it how you want, but now we get another pass because, well, we beat the Titans twice and it looks better. So here you go. Here are the keys another year.
Okay, but there's a little bit of this. So here's my question on this again. Leave Trent out of it. He's a different topic for me in this instance.
But to be fair, Brent, if we leave him out of it, if they do let him go, then Doug gets to call who the next GM is.
No, I think then the EVP would. Because I think then you hire an EVP and then because I think of what people want to see as an EVP or Tony Baselli or somebody like that, a part of the organization. If we did a poll, I think they'd like to see that.
Sure,
I think they'd like
absolutely.
to see a new GM and a new head coach. But I also think the thing you could sell to the fan base potentially, and I think Doug would go along with this. You can't fit an EVP and Baselli in with Bulky, but you could with Doug. So I think you could say, okay, Doug, you're staying. We're going to make these changes, and I'll get to that in a minute just to lay it all out there. And then we're going to have Baselli come in, and he's going to help, and together, whatever, we all hire a GM. I think Doug could go for that. And I don't think Trent would go for that, but I think Doug could go for that. I don't think you can do it with Trent. I think you can do it with Doug. But and the other part of this, so again, I don't want to muddy that. I'm just talking about the coaching stuff for now, but I think you could find a path to make that happen, and that's why this would become a topic. People think that he's in love with Bulky and that he would keep Bulky too. I don't think that's part of this, but at the same time, I don't want to go there. I don't want to muddy this conversation up with that. Would the fan base buy, Doug, you can come back, but you're calling plays, and you got to hire a new OC and a new DC. Would the fan base go for that?
I mean, I wouldn't. So I don't know. It's hard for me to speak for the entire fan base because Jaguars Twitter sometimes, man, you don't know what's going on. I don't think they'd be too happy about it. I think they see Ben Johnson. I don't know how they feel about Vrabel either. I feel like Ben Johnson's the guy that they want to bring in.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would be the most excited.
What about you, Hamby? What do you think? I get they want blood now, and blood means they want everybody's job. I understand that. But, and let me I'll give you a little, while you think about it, I'm going to give you one more reason why. There's two reasons why I come up with this. And I'm not telling you it's going to happen. I don't know either.
I'm nervous now because I feel like this is predicated off something.
No, I'm not. Okay. I don't do that. I don't have that.
Get out the envelope.
Listen, I will tell you, nobody knows what Shad's going to do. Nobody. And, but I say this because I'm watching Philadelphia kind of do this. Philadelphia revamped it. I get, for whatever reasons, they revamped it, but they already had the GM in place. They had the hierarchy, if you will, the front office, that part in place, and they had a good football team. The bottom line is Shad, whether he was told it or believes it, I do think he actually believes that this is a good football team. It's a quality football team.
Well, he said it was the best one that he's ever assembled.
I know, but he also was told that. I don't know but I do think he believes that, is the point.
I would hope so.
I think we all believe that.
Okay, well, I don't know if we still do now.
Well, I
think we all believe we were wrong.
On paper, from Shad, I mean, it's at least second.
But Philly's saying the same thing, is my point. Philly has a lot of people coming back, a lot of those guys. And Jags do too. Jags don't have a lot of roster flexibility.
Right.
They're going to have a lot of these guys back.
Right.
So, and Doug has not lost the locker room.
No.
Right? I mean, he has not lost the locker room. Those reports were way, way off months ago. So let me add one more thing to this. You watch a Titans team out here yesterday. Would Mike Vrabel's Titans look like that? And the answer is probably not. Mm-hmm. And so they got rid of Vrabel in a interesting decision time for them. Has he gotten them as far as they can get him? Getting rid of Derrick Henry. We're going to reboot this thing. We're going to bring in Callahan. That's been a bad move. Mike Vrabel's better than Callahan. But they got worse at the coaching position. And so would we sit here potentially in another year if they make a move and say, this guy ain't better than Doug? Whoever it is. Because you can't guarantee me they're going to get Ben Johnson. Chicago's going to go after him. The Jets are going to go after Vrabel. The Raiders might go after Vrabel. Like, you can't guarantee me they're going to get the top two guys on the board.
But we've talked about this before. Sometimes not even the top guy that you get, and sometimes not the top two guy that you get that's going to make the difference. So sometimes it's the guy that nobody talks about that's going to make the difference for your team. That's going to usher them into a new era. And with right now with Doug Peterson, I think we know the ceiling. And if I'm Shad Khan, and this is from Shad Khan's view, somebody told me we have the best team ever assembled, that I ever assembled. Somebody told me it. Now, whether that was Trent Baalke, whether that was Doug Peterson, a combination of both, somebody said it. And he was lied to. He was obviously wrong. He was meant to be kind of looking like a fool a little bit. So from a CEO, I'd be kind of pissed off. So if you need to tell me that, okay, I'm going to tuck my tail and say, yeah, I was wrong. I should have probably said that, but let's go ahead and re-up and bring the same coaching staff back, maybe a new coordinator, maybe a new defensive coordinator, but have the same guy in charge. I'm not sure if I'm going to get on board with that.
I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't absolutely hate it. However, go ahead, Austin.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. We literally ripped the guy the entire year because he refused to call the plays. And now we're going to give him another chance. Why?
Well, time out. I'm not telling you I'm advocating for this. I'm trying to think around this story in a week because there's an owner in Jacksonville that gave Gus Bradley a 4th year and gave Doug Marrone a 4th year. And quite frankly, they don't have as good a resumes as this guy has over a 3-year stretch.
And how has our franchise been the last 15 years by doing that? How are we doing? Maybe it's time to kind of get in line with other teams that do things a different way and go, maybe we should mimic ourselves after other teams instead of just giving this long leash to everybody and saying, well, maybe it'll work out one day.
You guys keep saying that, but McCarthy's coming back to Dallas. He ain't doing it the way everybody else does it.
How's Dallas been?
Well, he kept Garrett.
How's Dallas been?
The bottom line is they're not just flipping it over.
How's Dallas been?
How's Tomlin been?
How's Dallas been? How's Houston been? How's Detroit been? Houston's been better than us. Detroit's been better than us.
Wait a minute. They got like a couple years sample of it. That's it.
Brent, I would take Houston right now with what they have over Jacksonville. Sorry, but I would. I would take Detroit, obviously, right now over.
Well, it took them 50 years to figure it out, by the way.
But they kept on swinging until they found the right formula.
I don't think they swung. The keep on swinging method is Cleveland, and they haven't figured out. They change coaches and everybody more than anybody else. Other people actually buy time. They wait.
I feel like Detroit kind of had some switches.
I don't think 2-3 year switches.
Let's see.
I think most teams.
I mean, Patricia was quick, but if you go back over a 15, 20 year run, I mean, Fonts was there forever, and they had some decent years, but not great years. You go all the way back.
24 of the 32 teams are swing and miss, whatever teams. If it doesn't work, you get them out. And those 24 teams are the teams that never win. Like at the end of the day, it's only worked in a very select few handful of spots.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's two.
So there's
no blueprint, but the blueprint people are trying to mimic are more the teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers and everybody else where there's continuity. And again, Philadelphia is a team that normally would be like, get out of here. Like, they get out of here. Like, you can't, like, they got dug out 2 years after winning the Super Bowl.
Marinelli was there in Detroit 06 to 08. Jim Schwartz was there 2009, 2013. Caldwell was there 14 to 17. Patricia was there 18 to 20. Bevel was there for 20, taking over, and then it was Dan Campbell.
Okay, so it's like a 4-year, 5-year run.
I mean, 14 to 17. They've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coaches since 2010 or 2009.
How many have we had?
I have no idea.
Jack, Malarkey, Gus, Doug, Urban,
since 2000.
Peterson. In that same stretch, we've had 6.
Okay.
The biggest difference between the Eagles and Doug in this particular hypothetical situation is that Doug is known for a guy who specializes in offense, where Sirianni had not received that mantle yet. Not to say that he's not that guy, or he's not a guru in any sort of the sense of the word, but that was Doug's mantle. So to say that we would just get a new offensive coordinator, in that sense, what does it even benefit? Because the reason we're so upset with Doug and fans are so upset with Doug is what we've belabored over this entire season is that he won't take over the play calling. Mm-hmm. So that's the fireable offense because he has seen that he could do it better and chose not to do it. That's one of the many fireable reasons, right? So getting a new OC and saying, hey, we're going to force your hand at this, what does that tell you about earning another job?
This is why Taylor
another year.
This is why Taylor's safe in Cincinnati, despite what everybody was saying around him. The offense wasn't the issue, obviously.
No.
Well, Taylor's job is the offense. Like, yeah, your job is to get everybody to play football and win football games, right, but your calling card is your offense. Your offense isn't the problem.
Guys, I want to just make this clear. I'm not advocating. I advocated a few weeks ago. I wrote an article what they need. All right, I think they need a reset here. So, and it's more because it's the first half of Doug's tenure versus the second half of Doug's tenure. He did a wonderful job in the first half of his tenure in these 3 years. Remarkable. Coming off what Urban dealt him, quite frankly. And he did a great job. And again, I've been plenty critical of Doug this year, but I also will still sit here and say I think he's a good football coach. I really do. I don't think he won a Super Bowl accidentally and beat Bill Belichick. I also think what he's proven, at least at this time, is the ceiling is there and the sustainability is not. And he hasn't been able to sustain in Philadelphia, and he wasn't able to sustain here. I also think what he's starting to show a little bit is his loyalty is to a fault, which, by the way, he has that in common with Shad Khan. Shad is a loyal guy to a fault here in Jacksonville many different times over now. So this is only a scenario because I'm looking at a couple of loyal guys, and I'm also looking at a football team that still is responding to Doug, still is playing for Doug.
But the Giants are playing for Dable.
Dable's not going anywhere. They're not firing Dable.
Are we positive with that?
Well, I mean, that's what's been the reports, is they're not moving on.
Okay.
So now, listen, I think he's been dealt even worse because of maybe the Daniel Jones thing versus the Saquon Barkley thing. There's other reasons there, but it doesn't look like they're moving on, at least as of now from what I've seen out of New York. That could change, but it doesn't look like it. And so, anyway, this is just a scenario. The best thing for the Jags is to, in my opinion, go back and look at it, actionnewsjax.com. I'll pump up the article for the millionth time. I think you got to put somebody who cares about the organization in that EVP role. I think you got to get a new GM and head coach and reset this thing. I think it is time for a reset. I think it's gotten for whatever reason, it needs a jump start again, and it's a shorter turn than usual. And I usually advocate to keep the guy in continuity, quite frankly, over the years I have. But I think this one is different. But I'm also trying to look at it from Shad's lens. What I'm trying to do is look at it from get away from the mic, get away from the emotion, get away from the fans part, get out of Jacksonville for a moment and look at this thing from a 30,000-foot view. Take what you know about Shad, take what you know about the last few years. And could I see a scenario where they mimic what just happened in Philadelphia, where they kept Sirianni in that continuity and it worked? Because you're going to have a lot of the roster back. And I guess I could see that. Now there's a flip side of this whole scenario for me. I just suggested, if I'm Shad, do I have a conversation with Doug like, I'm going to put Baselli in an EVP role, we're going to hire a GM, you're going to maintain the coach, but you are calling plays. Your boy didn't work. You're calling plays because that's what I hired you to do, and that's why I'm going to keep you to do it. And you're going to hire an OC and a new DC because you made the wrong move there too. The question is, would Doug go for it? And I don't think he would. This is why he probably got fired in Philly, right? His loyalty to his staff. He's a very loyal guy to his staff and coaches. His players too. I respect that. I think that's why people like working with him, like working for him. I appreciate that. But I think Shad could certainly go there with that kind of view, and then Doug would be like, yeah, I ain't doing that. I'm going back to Jupiter. So again, I'm just trying to think all around this thing and see there's three options. Well, there's four options. One, they keep them both. Yeah, dead silence. I get it. Two is they get rid of them both. One is they keep Balky and get rid of Peterson. And there's plenty of blame on Peterson and his staff. He admitted to it yesterday in the post-press conference.
If you want to hear it, I got it.
And we'll get to that in a second. And then it's keep Peterson, get rid of Balky, because Balky's the one that built the roster and told you it was the greatest thing ever. And
are we sure that's Balky said that?
Well, we believe. Why would a coach say that? A coach would never tell you that. The guy building the roster would tell you that. So from a logic standpoint, it's got to be Balky. So those are the four scenarios.
Yeah.
What I don't think we've really. So I'm just trying to evolve the one with Peterson staying and Balky going a little bit more. And I think it would be under circumstances because I just watched Sirianni, who, by the way, had won 13 games and he got them to a Super Bowl, right? Did he get them to the Super Bowl?
Sirianni?
Or did he lose in the NFC Championship? They got him to the Super Bowl and lost to Kansas City, right?
Correct.
So they got him there. So plenty of reason to keep him. Well, then last year was like, ugh. In Philly, we fire guys like this when this crap happens.
Well, Brent, once again, that's not the same thing. Remember, they still went to the playoffs last year.
They did.
And Jalen Hurts was hurt. Like, you had Gardner Minshew, and who was the other guy that came in, I thought? I don't think it's the same thing.
But it is the same. Like, coming off last year, it was the same thing because Trevor got hurt. And Kirk got hurt. You could say the same thing, as you mentioned.
And in spite of that, they didn't go to the playoffs.
Well, they didn't.
The Eagles went to the playoffs.
The only reason the Eagles went to the playoffs is because they had one more win before everybody got hurt.
Okay.
They still backed their way in. They lost 5 out of 6 and lost the playoff game and didn't even have a chance.
Okay. But they still did. Like, okay. I mean,
so you think that would be safer now if he had gone to the playoffs last year?
Yeah, absolutely.
And still went 3 and what are they, 4-12?
He'd be safer for sure.
Really?
Yes. I think the playoffs mean something.
To some degree.
I think going to the playoffs mean a lot.
Well, I do too. But again, this was where you go. If they mean that much to you,
I think they mean that much to management, players, everybody. Like going to the playoffs means something.
If the Jags had beat Tennessee at the end of last year,
yes,
and then went out and got their ass whooped in the first round of the playoffs, how would we be looking at last year? Like, hey, at least they went to the playoffs.
I mean, I think it helps. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And I can't remember how the Eagles' score even was in the playoffs.
I think they got hammered. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, it wasn't close. Like they were They were bad at that time. They were bad, much like the Jags. Obviously, were pretty bad. They got beat by Tennessee and they lost 5 out of 6. But I respect that. I'm just asking, like, is that a difference maker? Because really, I don't think that hides the disappointment of this year at all. Like the disappointment of this year is still.
I think you can put your hat on and say, you know what? Well, we went to the playoffs. Like I think that's something you can say.
All right, I got it. Let's take a timeout. Oh, well, actually, let's hear from Doug on this while we got it. This is what he said yesterday about just the fate of the coaching staff and everybody else with a week to go. I mean, he gets it. It's real life in the NFL. Here he is.
Doug, obviously, when you get to this time of the year, you guys got the record you have. Have you had to have conversations with your coaches for them to stay engaged and stay positive and encouraging when at a time of year where, let's be honest, a lot of coaches sometimes are job hunting because they fear the worst?
Yeah, for me, it's more about just having some one-off conversations. I don't get them together and say, "Hey guys, this is what needs." I mean, we're adults and we understand. We see we see what's being written, what's being said, and listen, it's obviously we put ourselves in, and I'm the leader of that ship, right? So they're the captain of that ship. So I mean, obviously we've put ourselves in this situation. So just having one-off conversations and trying to, for me, still to encourage them as well. And get them to understand that, hey, we got a lot to play for and coach for, and you put your best foot forward and you give it everything you have during the week, and then when you're rewarded like we were today, just makes it sweeter.
Let me play this next one as well. The next one was very quick, but
is there a sliver of consolation for you that these last 4, 5, 6 weeks that you guys have stayed engaged, put in a pretty good effort to get yourself in position to win games? You haven't won a lot of them, but you're not letting go of the rope.
Thank you for reminding me. But it's obvious. I mean, it's right. I mean, and the guys aren't. The thing is, they're not waving the white flag. I mean, I think even when you talk to them in the locker room, they're not. They're busting their tails during the week. I mean, they're doing everything that I'm asking them to do, coaches and players. And look, whatever happens at the end of the season is going to happen. We still got 1 game left, right? And before today, we had 2 games left. And for us to finish the way we want to finish, whatever happens, regardless, we want to finish this thing the right way. And we won today, and that's a huge step. And then we move on to the next one. You put another game plan together, you go practice, and you try to do it again on the road. And then whatever happens is going to happen. But, just proud of the way the coaches and players have just stuck together and hung together. And the fact that we were rewarded today, speaks to that.
Hey, I'm glad you keep that up. Or actually go back to a better still shot if you can find one. We did the post-game show. We're on the move a lot. Yes, I actually went into Doug's press conference for a moment. Action Sports Jax Prime. You just freeze the shot, if you don't mind. There you go. I didn't even did the show last night on TV, and I didn't catch this till right now. And somebody had asked him in the post-game about the emotion of the win yesterday, and he talked about that with the guys and brought some of that up. he looks yesterday, at least to me here, more spent after this win than he has like all season. And I'm starting to wonder how emotional yesterday was seriously for him. Like he didn't say it too much, but
yeah, well, he's not pissed off, right? Because you won, so like you can celebrate a little bit.
He's not, but he's also not chipper. Is my point about the win.
He also just got rained on for 4 hours.
Well, there is that, and I don't want to listen. He might have a little bit of allergy stuff going on. I got that stuff all the time. Like you have no idea. But listen, totally reading into it, and this is what we kind of do.
Sure.
I just wonder, like, does he already know? Does he know? Because like you put a lot in. I really respect that. Like you know that you put a lot in.
Yeah.
And this is why, and this is what I do respect about Doug. Like, no matter what we say, no matter what everybody else say about the noise, he keeps it in. That's why when he goes back to Philly, they like him. They appreciate him. The guys like him. People who play for him like him. The other people around the league, I think, really respect him. Have you ever heard? I don't heard a lot of bad words about Doug around the league, like at all. And you know, now listen, we've been very critical of him this year in a lot of different respects, but I think these guys and these players still like him. I don't think you hear any of that stuff. And I just wonder if either he knows, well, this was it at the home stadium. This is it with these guys. One more week. Has he already been told, or does he just know because he knows the NFL so well?
Why would he be
Glenn,
told?
like you're right. Doug's left eye says it all. I don't know if that's an allergy thing, but it hit me just watching it there. Like, I feel like there was something there. There's something there in that post game yesterday that I hadn't really seen.
Maybe he knows. I don't get why, if you're like Shad Khan, you would say it right now.
Yeah.
Like that, because
it would get out, by the way, if that's like Shad wouldn't say it right now.
Yeah. So
I don't.
Maybe Doug knows the deal, but I don't think he was told anything by anybody.
Yeah. I don't know what that means. Again, I'm just looking at real time. I'm like, that didn't hit me yesterday, but it hit me right here watching. Like there is something going on. Like there is something, a little added emotion.
Sure.
Yesterday, after even a win, that is different than the pissed off, frustrated Doug that we've seen so many times for obvious reasons this year.
But no, for sure. But maybe it's just like finally you tasted, the taste of victory again. And
Yes.
like, you've been through a lot this season. You've lost a lot. And anytime you win, it can be emotional. So maybe it's that. I'm not sure. Like usually, like I'm all in on these reactions and what he says, but like it's hard for me to gauge that one just because I think it could be a number of things.
Yeah, it could be. So, I was going to take it one more spot before. Well, let's take a break anyway.
Well, I was going to say I do agree. Like, yeah, the players definitely haven't quit on him. If you'll say, but like it's the NFL. Like, give me one team where players are quitting right now.
Indianapolis.
Oh, I think that's just more of just they stink.
I guess we never even talked about that, but which we can.
I mean, like the Raiders
haven't, but the Jets looked like they weren't playing yesterday.
Yeah,
maybe a little taste of that. Listen, nobody quits. Nobody flat out quits. I've been doing this for a long time in Jacksonville now, and there's been a lot of games like this that don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The guys don't quit. Everything. This is where the big separation is between fan and player and coach. They go. That's their job. They go do it to the best of their ability. There's tape on there. Like, they understand it.
Because winning feels good and losing sucks.
It really does.
No one wants to just be, hey, let's quit and lose. Like, no, that's not how it goes.
But there's also, like last week, I questioned a little bit, and I thought it was right to question it, the attention to detail. When you go on the road, you go to the West Coast, you're around the holidays, you're not good. Well, and all of a sudden, you're like lining up off sides, and then
but you had
plays
Dewey
in a
too.
row.
You had some sound bites after the game where it's like players seem a little frustrated.
Yeah. So
but
and
it
still means something to you. But I'm just saying, we didn't see that play yesterday. We saw more crisp play. Mm-hmm. We saw. I mean, again, you're playing a bad team that might have something to do with it. But I think it looks different. There's nobody that looks like, hey, they're just letting people walk in the end zone.
Correct.
It never looks like that, but sometimes you have a feel like, okay, that was not it. That's not the way it's supposed to look in the NFL. And like really the Vegas game kind of had that a little bit yesterday. Last week.
The Lions game said it all, but
the Lions game did say it all. See, I still go back to the Lions game, and I'm not giving anybody excuses. I think the Lions game was a show of fatigue, as much as bad. Like there's a gap between good and bad, but also I thought the team was a very tired football team at that time. I thought that was real. to go along with everything else.
Sure.
The one thing I've realized about the NFL, covering it for as long as we have and covering it here in Jacksonville, when you watch the good teams look good and you watch the bad teams look bad, it feels like the Grand Canyon is between them. But I don't think it really is. I think the gap there is actually a lot smaller than it appears between good and bad in the NFL. I think it can really look bad when you play bad.
Yeah.
And it can really look good when things are clicking. And I think we're seeing that across the league this year.
And sometimes when you're one of the best teams, it doesn't have to look good. You just have to find a way, and that's what the Chiefs do all the time.
Well, that's what the best teams do. The best teams, they can play their C game and still win.
Correct.
All right. And then the poor teams like Carolina's of the world, they got to play like an A game to be in it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's definitely that gap. Is this like, oh, there we go. I was like, where are we putting somebody to sleep?
We got some new sounds, huh? I like it.
I like it. I found that we got to that point. All right, we got a lot more to get to here. I do want to talk about that Giants-Colts game a little bit, because that whole draft positioning thing, does it bother you that the Jags won? We'll hit that when we come back here on the Brent Austen Show. Burgers or breakfast, you can get it all at Whataburger. Try something new on the menu or an all-time favorite like the Whataburger Patty Melt. And now you can have breakfast here at Whataburger 12 hours a day, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. Menu items like the bacon taquito, sausage taquito, honey butter chicken biscuit. Whether you work the late night shift, just want a snack early in the morning to get your day started, or a little pick-me-up late in the morning, 12 hours a day, breakfast served, 11 p.m. until 11 a.m. A dozen locations in Jacksonville. You can order pickup or delivery and download the Whataburger app. New rewards members get free Whataburger items when placing their first online order. Just download the app. And for us coffee drinkers, Whataburger has all new hot coffee and iced coffee too. Satisfy that coffee craving at Whataburger 24/7, and it comes in a variety of flavors. Burgers, breakfast, coffee, and so much more. Whataburger, just like you like it.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years, and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices or pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
What do you think about this? Shad Firebalky for Duval.
That's Jacksonville, you know.
You know, listen, I get people can do whatever they want. I'm never a big fan of this kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm too close to it.
Sure.
A little. Like I do respect the fact that, yeah, these guys make a lot of money. They got a lot of responsibility, all that, but they also have families and everything else. And you know, Trent Baalke at times has been made out in the media, at times in the media, but really by the fan base because of the frustrations as just being like this bad guy.
Sure.
And I don't really think that's true. I think he's not the most bubbly guy in the world.
No, see,
he's not the warmest guy in the world, but he's not a bad guy. Now, can you separate those things? And I think sometimes the fan base crosses those things, or it feels like everybody in sports. It's not just Jacksonville. It's just in sports we get so annoyed, right? And we do it. Everybody gets so emotional, and I'd be like, "What the heck is going on in Jacksonville?" We're all trying to figure it out. These guys stink. They stink. Whatever. And you forget about the human element a little bit. And I try to just remember the human element at times as we go through all this stuff. Because let's be honest, a lot of these coaches and other people live in your neighborhoods, or their kids go to schools with your kids, and their life's about to change in the next week. I mean, people are losing their jobs, and nobody likes to see that part of it, even though everybody would love to have their jobs. Mm-hmm. So there's an element of that this time of year as we call for everybody's head. And you see stuff like that, and I appreciate the passion of the fan base, but I'm never a big, you know me, I wasn't a big fan of the Baalke stuff to begin with, like even way back in that transition.
I mean, I don't think it's an indictment of his character, like who he is as a person, because nobody really knows him as a person. It's not like people are going out to hang out with the dude, so who knows what he's like. It's just more of, frustration, I think, in terms of draft, in terms of free agent signings, and in terms of what the roster looks like.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, it can be a little aggressive, sure. But at the end of the day, like, this is a performance-based business, right? And it's kind of what you signed up for. And if the team's not performing well, if the roster doesn't look great, if the draft's not delivering, people that pay ticket, they kind of have a voice. Now, how much you want to give them a voice or not, it's up to you. But if they want to spend the money on that, spend the money on it, man.
They raised some money for that.
How much do you think that is? I mean,
I think they were trying to get $700+.
Let's get a Brent Austen thing flying around the stadium then.
Let's do it.
What are we doing?
Want to do it?
Got a Pac-Man machine in here collecting dust.
Actually played it for the first time in months the other day.
How'd that go?
It wasn't great. I threw some things.
You still have
some stuff.
Do you still have the high score? Because people come in here all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Still have the high score.
Okay. It's a pretty popular machine.
Listen, I will get. You can make planes about me too if I was making $4, $5, $8 million, whatever it is. Our guys are all making.
Right.
I will say that. I'll take it. I'll take the slander.
Yeah. Take all the threats, man. Take all the clown masks. I don't care.
But,
pay me.
I do respect the human side. It's something I've had to learn. You learn that, right? Like, I think there's a lot of that right now. I feel this way. I don't know how other people feel about it. I honestly don't know how Doug feels about it. But I feel this is a very weird spot for me to be in this year, because it feels like it's been like Brent v. Doug at times.
Yeah.
Again, it's not a comfortable spot for me because that's not usual. And it's not even intentional. Like, it's really the way it's kind of happened is just kind of been painted that way because there's been some interactions. But I sit here and also say, like, I don't think Doug's a bad guy. I think Doug is a good coach, and a lot of it's just not working. And I also have reasons for it not working. I think he's made some mistakes. Like, those are fair things. So, as I always say, we've done this show for a long time. And some people ask me this all the time. It's like, hey, is it hard to go talk to Christian Kirk tonight after, after you guys rip the team and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, Austen taught me this a long time ago when I would kind of be curious about that. It's like, are you being fair? Like, there's a way to be fair and unfair based on, and I hope like 95% of the time we're fair to the player, to the team, to the people we're talking about. You can still be critical.
Exactly. That's just the name of the game.
That is the name of the game. Oh, yeah. Speaking
name of the game, really.
Speaking of the name of the game. Bob Longo, you're going to come in here and sit down. You're going to join the conversation here in a moment.
I am.
As we transition over, I'm going to introduce everybody to Bob Longo in a second. But how do you feel about the draft pick stuff yesterday with the Titans and the Giants?
Didn't notice it, Brent. Didn't lose any sleep
Didn't care
about it. Nah, man, come on, Brent. I still got my solid 8 hours of sleep. I don't care if you're picking 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Doesn't matter.
I don't either this time around. Obviously, the Trevor stuff was different, and I know you weren't for losing either at that point, but the Trevor stuff, listen, it worked out the way everybody wanted it to work out. I was thinking of this the other day. When they beat Indianapolis a couple years ago with Urban Meyer, I don't think it changed anything. They were still picking number 1.
Yeah, and they're still making fun of Indy. Like, I mean, it was almost it was so sweet because, we beat Indy again. So took them out of the playoffs.
If the Jaguars win these 2 games now, if they go beat Indianapolis, which after what I saw yesterday is certainly possible.
Very.
And they slip from number 3 in the draft order to number 9 because they could go all the way to number 9, I think it is. Is it devastating? Is it bad? Is it – because the fans don't like that. Let's just be honest. I can tell you everybody in the chat will be like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
I think they'll still get a good football player at number 5, number 7, number 8, number 9. It's just up to them to go find a good football player, right?
Correct. It happened with Brian Thomas Jr. now, didn't it? So
it did.
Yeah. So no, I'm not worried about it whatsoever. I would rather, if you can string off 2 wins to end the season, regardless of who's here next year for a regime or not, if you can build any kind of momentum, I would take that over getting drafted ahead, 5 spots. So yeah, I'm taking the win all day over. Okay, thank you, Hamby. You could just told me in the headphones. It's all good though. I would rather take the win over the draft slot.
Yeah, I don't know which I'd rather. I just also don't care. Like, I don't care enough that the Jags are picking number 5. I think they're going to get a good football player, and they could go down to number 9. I also have this little sense of they could go 4-2 in the AFC South and win 5 football games. That number 1 shows you how bad the AFC South is, and number 2, I'm like, don't waste your good year in the South on a 5-win season.
That's a good point. That's true
because
too.
Usually it's the formula to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you win your division, like if you win more games in your division than you lose, and you win your home games, you're usually in a pretty good spot to go to the playoffs. Well, the problem is the Jags haven't won home games. Been pretty bad at home, quite frankly.
And also, people, let's understand this real quick. Tanking, like I get it. You can do things right, like maybe you take James Robinson out towards the end of the year and help your team out a couple years ago. But like these players aren't buying into tanking. They're not going to lose so they can get a better draft pick for the next year. Because a lot of these players probably won't be on the roster. So it's more about one thing about being selfish and not really caring about the team. It has to be about self-preservation in the terms of, well, you think about it, I may not be here next year. So I better put out the best tape that I can because it's going to make a difference between me getting another job or not. I don't care about where the draft pick's going to be.
It's the biggest, I think it might be the biggest disconnect between fans and football teams.
Which makes 0 sense to me. 0 sense.
Well, I get what the fans are like, hey, listen, Jacksonville, if you're going to make us suffer through all this crap and you stink and you played bad, we better get something out of it, like a good draft pick.
Yeah, but you can't be mad at players for wanting to go win, is what I'm saying.
No,
like,
you can't.
I don't understand that disconnect where they're mad at the players. Like, what did you expect? They're competitors. They've been competing their entire life. They're not going to go out there and lose on purpose.
Yeah, I don't. But the Giants, man, they screwed it up. Let's get Bob Longo in on the Giants. You know he's a Giants fan.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So let me introduce you to Bob.
All right, where do I sit from this damn studio?
Well, you built it. Bob, GM Bob Longo, right there. See, it says it. GM Bob Longo.
Oh, geez.
Well, listen
title.
now.
I like it.
Just to let you know, Bob, we've been trying to fire a GM around here, not in the building, but in Jacksonville.
I know how that goes, man.
Make sure you guys are targets.
Yeah. And, honestly, hard person in an organization to pick off. Like, when you get a good GM, great. When you get a bad one, it takes a lot of effort and time to get that person out of here. And I'm not saying Trent Baalke's the worst GM in the world, but, you could make the argument, as you guys have, that it's time for a change, right? And hard to get that guy out of there.
Yeah, and we'll
right?
see if they do get him out of there. This is Bob Longo, our GM, and he actually is going to fire himself.
That's right.
Into retirement.
I'm fired. Tomorrow. It's my last day.
It's got one more day, a day and a half of work.
That's right. And we're using the term work very loosely.
I was going to say, Bob, are we kind of more in cruise control right now? Or like the last week of school, right?
Control,
It's the last week of school.
There would be no way I would have Bob on the show if he wasn't retiring tomorrow, because this would look very gratuitous, wouldn't it?
It would very much look very good.
Yeah.
Hey, my contract's up next year, Bob. Let's get you on the show.
Let's talk, shall we? Let's just
well, it's funny you mention that because actually we have Trent Baalke coming on next week on the show, right, Brent? You going to have him on too as well? No.
You going to negotiate with him too?
We'll try. But hey, are you looking forward to retirement?
I am. I hate that term though, man.
Well, you won't retire.
You've been through it. You're
I
not
have.
retired.
Yeah.
You kind of rebirthed into a new thing or a different thing.
Exactly.
Is this thing where you need me? You got me okay?
Yeah. You're good.
So I'm just going to be doing different things. I'm going to take some time off. Then, you know me, I want to be creative. I'm going to write a little bit. I'm going to maybe podcast. I'll compete with you. No, I'm not going to compete.
Let's go.
We'll put you on the network.
Well, hey, Bob, I am kind of a freelancer, so, free agency, NIL, like, if you want, I'm kidding, Brent. I'm not going anywhere, Brent.
Be bought, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we'll see.
You guys, great show. I love that we've been able to do this.
Yeah.
And, as a lot of people maybe don't know, Brent's the driving force to this thing. This Action Sports Jags 24/7 thing is really kind of a Brent Martineau. There's some other people, Steve Sesnick. There's all the people in India that we deal with to stream this thing. Folks at corporate. I'm probably leaving a lot of people out of here.
Yeah. Well, but the reason why I wanted Bob on the show is because it doesn't get done without Bob.
No,
and
for
so
sure.
we really think this is cool what's going on here with our network, and he's one of the architects of this whole thing. And over the years, we're fortunate in our TV world to do a lot of sports. Mm-hmm. Where not everybody does that around the country.
Right.
And so Bob's been a big believer in that and a big part of that for right reasons, good reasons. Not that the industry always says it, but for good reasons, we think. And the cool thing is I always say anytime we interact, I'll be like, well, we appreciate the platforms. And this is a new platform to be able to showcase everybody's talents and skills. And we think we're kind of changing the game a little bit. You're going to see a lot more of this down the road. You know the industry well.
Yeah. Look, I think this is where the audience is going, right? Mm-hmm. And so whether your platform is, 2 tin cans held together with a string or radio or TV or streaming, you got to go where people are consuming your product, right? And I think they're in the streaming world, and I think we're out in front locally on that. Everybody else is going to copy us in the years to come, and that's cool, right? That's flattery. But I think you guys have done it right here. This is a great, watchable, listenable show, and now we're broadcasting games and stuff like that. There are other shows on before and after this show. So I think it's really cool. And, it's local, right? I mean, you want to talk about the Jags, you're not going to ESPN, right? You're not going to one of these other nets out there. You're coming here, and you're going to get opinion and fact and kind of the lay of the land, which I think you guys do unabashedly, which is fantastic.
Well, it's cool cool to have you on here. And again, a big reason we're even doing this is because of Bob. We got it just in the nick of time before you left into retirement. The retirement story for you is, or this goes way, you said writing books or podcasting. You've already done that. You were, how many, 2 books, right?
Two. One really. The first one was a total warm up. The second one, all fiction rather. And so yeah, I got a couple in my head. And for me, being creative, I started way back when as a reporter, right? So I like to be creative. I like to use words and pictures and sound and all that. And so I want to get back to some of that. As a GM, you're creative. You get like an email. I gotta make this email look good. Yeah. You don't get to be creative a lot. So I mean, looking forward to that.
You are a good email writer, though. Like you're really good.
Thanks. I think
that's pretty good. No, seriously. Bob can craft an email.
Yeah.
Which is great.
I look forward to his emails around the holidays.
Bob, let me ask you this, man, because we talk about this in sports all the time, where you have to learn to adapt.
Yeah.
If you don't adapt, people will find a replacement for you. And like, I'm sure you've been in the game for a long time now.
Yeah.
And you've seen the game change. What have what has been kind of the thesis of like, how have you been able to adapt so much, and how have you been able to stay in the game so long, because it's ever changing?
Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is
oh, dude, that's a full hat. You're looking great, man.
Look, it's looking good. But it's great.
It's
It's
actually pretty
white.
good going into retirement, man. I can't wait to
I
look
think
like that.
You got to not take anything personal, right? Even if it is personal, you got to shake it off, right? Because there's other business decisions at play, whether they want someone younger in your position or faster, or the ratings are down or up or whatever. You got to not take it personal, and you got to kind of do your thing. You got to figure out who you are, what you're good at, do that thing to the best of your ability, and then let the chips fall where they may. And if you're really good and you've got a lane that you're in, you'll be okay, I think, most of the time. Although you can run into a obnoxious SOB GM or coach or news director.
Yeah, those people exist.
And they exist, right? They're out there. And so you still got to, I think, stay in your lane and do your thing, and have confidence, which as a younger up-and-coming person is hard to do, man. Like how long before you were confident in your abilities? I'm asking you.
Yeah.
It wasn't as a rookie, probably.
Still trying to be, yeah. Still trying to get that confidence, man. No, but you're not wrong.
We just talked about it on the show today. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the quarterback in the league right now, C.J. Stroud not playing with confidence.
No.
We've seen that in Jacksonville before. You look at Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold playing with confidence.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in anybody's business, in anything world or trait or whatever they do, trade, I should say, confidence is a big thing. You've been reporter.
Yeah.
News director, which is totally different than
Totally.
a GM job.
Yep.
Executive producer, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
I loved being a reporter. Actually, being out, telling stories, and being on the street, as it were, breaking news, that kind of stuff. Just got my juices going. I liked it a lot. Now, I've been fortunate enough to be, leading news teams through kind of big stories, whether they're hurricanes or Casey Anthony in Orlando.
Oh, wow.
And we had 9/11 when I was in Pittsburgh, and so those big moments are things that you get cohesive, you pull together as a team, and you do your thing. But being on the street, telling a story, hearing the news first, crafting it, and then telling it is kind of a cool thing. Think about it. Like, if something is going to happen at the Jags, you're in that room, you see it, you feel the emotion in that room, and then you craft that story and you tell it to everybody else. Right?
Do you wish you stayed in the reporting side?
No, I don't. But I do miss it from time to time. And I see a story, I'm like, man, I could have told that so much better.
Yeah.
It is a thing.
And of the big story, Pittsburgh Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, 90, what was it, 05 or 04 in Detroit. That was a big year.
Tell us how many people you brought to the Super Bowl.
25 people.
How many people work in our newsroom now?
82,
Yeah.
80, right around there.
Think about that.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
That'd be like a third of the newsroom
Yeah.
to the Super Bowl. They were like on hand at the Super Bowl.
And they thought the corporate, which isn't the same corporate we work for now, right?
So now
It's a
you can
different
say anything you
station.
want.
Yeah, they were like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "No, how are you going to do that?" I'm like, we're going to drive from Pittsburgh to Detroit.
Well, that's not that far, is
And-
it?
No, it's not. It was 4.5, 5 hours, but 25 people in 5 cars or 6 cars, however we did it. They did not want to hear that they weren't going to take a nice cushy flight. You know what I mean?
Sure,
But it enabled us to save money and get hotel rooms and double up and do some things, and it was a load of fun. You know, being on a Super Bowl ride. Pittsburgh, and I've worked in Pittsburgh and Buffalo, and I think the difference in those towns, besides the organizations, the fans are used to winning.
Yeah.
They demand a winning product, and they expect a winning product, and I don't think we do here. I don't think we expect them to really go to the Super Bowl.
No.
We talk it, we don't expect it.
We expect throwback jerseys, Brent.
throwback jerseys.
We get 'em.
Expect the throwback
And we
jerseys.
get 'em.
We get them. And we get them. They look
get 'em.
great.
And they look great.
Oh, they look fantastic.
They really do look good. You mentioned, I don't want to steal all your, you can tell me if I shouldn't say this, but we had a conversation recently, and you brought something up that's really interesting to me. Because in a way, I can't wait to get older.
Yeah.
Right? To get to the point where, I always say this on the show, where you don't give a damn about anything anybody thinks,
Oh, God.
cares, says.
Where's this going?
Right?
I know, right?
But Bob brought something up recently, and he's like, older people are always so grumpy.
They are.
And it's true. Like, as you get older, it's like, why do people get so grumpy? But you're not that guy. Like, I don't.
Yeah, Bob, you're
trying
always
not
been
to
cool
be
to
that
me,
guy.
man. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Well, first of all, you're not old enough to be that level of grumpy yet.
Oh, you'd be surprised, though, how the grumpiness that's out there. And that's my podcast idea, not to give it all away here, but
Dang,
I mean,
right.
dudes in general, more specifically than females, I would say, are grumpier the older they get. And I think part of that is they're used to being big, swinging, you-know-whats in their world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they're not in their world, and they're just another number. They can't call anybody, make a change. They can't do a thing about a thing. And so the world is kind of stacked up against them, or so they think. Instead of thinking, man, I'm above ground for another day. I can do whatever I want today. They get into these bad, mental spaces, and I do too from time to time, right? We all do.
I think we all do,
But
yeah.
you got to get out of that and think, man, how cool is this thing that we're doing? And especially retired, hell, I don't have to get up at any special time. I don't have to do anything special. I can just do my thing, whatever that thing is.
That's awesome.
And so are most older people, but yet they are grumpy. I think they watch too much cable news. I think they're too politicized, and I think they just aren't living their life outside the world. And
That's really
what they
well
gotta
said.
do.
Hamby, who's tougher to keep in the box, Austin or Bob?
I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and I'm still tough. I'm still all over the place.
So, how's
There you
this?
go. That's
Hey,
good. It's called energy,
How's
Bob.
that,
Don't let them
I
take your
like
energy
it.
away, because I'm
All
the
right,
same
look at
way,
that.
dude. I'm always moving around,
I
man.
like it. I know Hamby's like wrestling with it. All right, two more things for you.
All right.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you this part. Really good. You're going out on top,
We are.
right?
We
Ratings
are.
really good.
People are. Lori Longo, that's my boss right there.
That's
Oh,
your
yeah.
new boss.
Yeah.
Probably gotta
Well,
pick
she's
that
been
one.
your boss.
Hang on, baby. I'm live streaming right now, so I gotta not take this call. Okay.
He can do whatever he wants.
Bye.
That's
to be honest
that's
with
my
you-
career goal one day.
To be honest with you-
Hey, Dana, I'll call you back. Just click.
Last week,
I'm gonna catch hell for that.
Okay.
by the way, last week you could have done that anyway. 'Cause
Yeah.
you were the boss, or you're still the boss. But now you can really do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going out. You're going out on top. I mean, we
Yeah.
got the
It's not
ratings
just
are
me, obviously.
Well,
It's
I know,
you,
but
it's
ratings are
you.
good.
Yeah, the news product is good right now,
Yeah.
right? We've got the right people in the right place. They're all pulling in the right direction, and they're covering the right stories in the right way. That sounds really generic and stupid, but that's really what it takes. You got to know who you are, know what the audience wants, deliver that as often as possible, as consistently as possible, without opinion, and hopefully people like you and your people, and they do. We're in a good place right now.
What's our last one? What's the business look like? Not the business. What's the viewing appetite? Like
Yeah.
people listening and watching.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just mentioned we're kind of moving with it, right? Even
Yeah.
on something like this. But where's TV and kind of what we're doing in 10 years, do you think?
I think we are still here, right? I think people will have an appetite for all things local. They have since the Revolutionary War, right? They were like doing things on a mimeograph back then, right? I think. So I think there's going to be a demand and a need for local. I think we'll be a lot more streaming like this. I think there'll be newsrooms that are maybe a slightly fewer number of people, but not a lot fewer. So I think it's about the right size. But I think they'll be doing other things. You'll have data analysts looking at all this metrics that are out there, right? And those tell their own stories. There'll be investigations. There'll be weather. There'll be sports, right? Now, other markets without local teams, without big, I don't know how they fare. So I don't think it's going to be universal across the board. I think in certain markets like Jacksonville, it'll be healthy. But in other markets like Macon, maybe not so.
Maybe it's a one big, I don't know about one, but maybe it's a mistake of not only our business, but other businesses is like cookie cutter the country sometimes.
Yeah.
And the markets are different.
They are totally
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
Heck, even Jacksonville's totally different 15 years ago than today.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
In a lot
I've been
of
here
different
11 years,
businesses.
completely different market.
Yeah, in our business, in the real estate business, and the other
Yeah.
businesses, you got to be careful to be cookie cutter.
Yes, I agree.
Because of scale, though, everybody wants to be cookie cutter.
Right.
Yeah,
Across
yeah.
McDonald's to wherever else.
Right, until the what hits the fan,
Whataburger, by
and
the
then you
way.
don't want it.
Yeah,
You don't want to be a cookie cutter when no one cares anymore. Right? You want them if they're looking for a Whataburger, you want to be the Whataburger guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we are the Whataburger.
That was a shame.
guy.
That was a shameful plug.
That was good work.
Right here. Man.
There we go.
You
Zoom
like
up on that Hamby. I said.
By the way, we'll see you sponsoring that podcast soon enough.
For sure.
Pay attention. Bob's the best.
All right, thanks for having me.
Hey,
New York Giants, terrible. Okay, so bad they blew their chance yesterday for a number.
so are
one
you
pick.
mad about that?
I'm kind of with Austin on that. I unless they've got a number one targeted already,
Yep.
then it's not a bad mistake, right? If they don't have a number one targeted, and they may not, because they're going to jettison everyone. There's going to be a new head coach, a new GM there, the whole nine. They have to, right? They have to rebuild. So whoever comes in is going to have to rebuild in whatever their vision is, and they'll figure it out. If they don't have the number one and they need it, they'll trade for it, right? And they'll do what they have to do. It's New York. They'll figure it out.
Well, they might not figure it out. It's been a while.
But it's going to be 3-4 years before they got a watchable franchise. I think we've got a decent crack at being good again. We should have been good this year.
I know.
Yeah.
They don't have. I think they're missing the killer instinct on the field and in the locker room. And I'll just say this: I really like Trevor. He's not Peyton Manning on the field. He's not the guy who goes up to the receiver who dropped the third ball in a row and says, "You got to catch the ball when I throw it to you."
Sure.
Right? And I think they need some of that killer appetite out there to get to that next level. But they should have beat Chicago. They should have beat the Jets. They should have beat Miami.
Cleveland.
There's Cleveland. There's 4. They win next week. They're in the playoffs.
That's right. They'd be in the mix.
Yeah.
They'd be in the mix.
And ratings would be even better.
Yeah. Yeah, people are still watching them. They do have an NFL product, so they're there. I'll stop talking.
Hey,
Thanks for having me, man.
I'll
That was
see you
kinda
in
cool.
Saratoga.
Yeah, baby. You let me know when you're there. I'll be there.
Happy retirement,
Yeah,
Bob
man.
Longo. He's
Awesome.
the
Thank
best.
you, man. Appreciate you, dude.
Really
Thank
the
you, man.
reason this thing exists. We'll take the time out here on the show. We should have, by the way, had Bob on the show all the time talking sports.
Dude, I
Maybe
love
we
it,
won't.
man.
We'll get him in. I don't know if it's part of
Could
his
have picked his
departure
brain about
contract or whatever.
Daniel Jones. I mean, I figured with Daniel Jones, you guys would have had a little great relationship here.
Yeah. I just
Brent's a
stay
big
in the
Daniel
box
Jones guy.
right here, man.
We'll figure out that
No,
part.
Bob, don't worry about me. I'm always all over the place, man. It's all good.
Brent
know.
Austen
Head
Show.
movement.
Put a bow on this show, and we come back here on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, built by Bob. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness. The most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
Another exciting week of basketball for the Ospreys of North Florida, both at home and on the road. The men's basketball team started off the week on Thursday at home with a 115-83 win over Warner. It was a huge night for Ospreys freshman Josh Harris, who dropped 26 on 11 of 14 shooting to go along with his 14 boards in 27 minutes. Then on Saturday, the Ospreys traveled to Statesboro to take on Georgia Southern. UNF found themselves down 17 in the second half, but came storming back to force overtime. Unfortunately, the Ospreys couldn't complete the full comeback as they fall 93-91. Both the men and the women are back at UNF Arena this week as the men take on UNC Greensboro and the women take on UNC Asheville. Both games are on Saturday. And remember, you can find schedules, results, tickets, and more at unfospreys.com.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, save $1,000 or more when you bundle a Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
When it comes to trucks, I know exactly what I want. And at Bozard Ford, they make it easy to get exactly that. Let's go make this truck a little more my style. With Bozard Built, I can create my perfect truck right here. Lift kit? Check. Premium wheels? You bet. Advanced lighting package? Oh yeah. The Bozard team works their magic. From bumper to tailgate, I'm making this truck mine. It's everything that I wanted and more. From the field to the gym to weekend adventures. This truck's built for my journey. Bozard Built. Customized for your lifestyle, built to exceed your expectations. Check out the inventory and available options at bozardbuilt.com. Unleash your dream ride. Customized, covered, and Bozard approved.
New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martineaus get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza, some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're gonna love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us, and at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, Tanika Hughes, congratulations.
Oh, nice.
Community champion for her work with children's literacy here in Jacksonville, and she was recognized yesterday in the third quarter. You can see it during the game. So she was very proud of that and should be. So congratulations. That's pretty neat.
That's
right?
cool. Yeah. Is that like hand painted? Someone painted that?
It looks like it is. Yeah.
That's cool.
So congratulations to Miss Tanika on that award. And you can catch her tonight at 5 o'clock, and 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock on Action News Jack, CBS 47, and Fox 30. You don't usually have your boss on the station and on the show, but like he seriously helped. Like he wouldn't say it. I don't want to say it too much.
Yeah.
I mean, he seriously helped build this. There are a few people that this thing doesn't happen without. And Bob's one of the guys, and we wish him well in retirement. He looks too young to retire, by the way, doesn't he?
Dude, I mean, yeah, for sure too young, because I don't know, man. I always think, like, I haven't had a lot of bosses, and, like, I don't know if he's really my boss because I'm, a freelancer, but, Brent
Yes,
freelancing, but he's still my boss.
He can take your key card, so how about that?
But listen, yeah, exactly. But I think it says a lot about somebody, and this is almost like, to bring it around to football again, it's the Gardner Minshew effect, where you know exactly who you are, you know what you bring to the table, and you don't try to pigeonhole yourself in a box. You're almost like outside the box. I remember my stepdad used to always tell me growing up, he's like, don't be afraid to let your freak flag fly. Now, at the time, didn't really know what that meant, right? Still kind of figuring that one out. But it's like, I think it's important to be who you truly are. And like, I think Bob's kind of realized that a little bit. And every time that I've dealt with him, seen him in the hallway or just had a conversation, like, Bob's Bob, man, and I can appreciate that, and I think that's a rarity, especially in such a high-level position where people just kind of tend to go with the status quo a little more and what corporate wants you to be, where you kind of lose some of that individuality. And then once again, I don't know Bob like personally. I haven't hung out with him the past 10 years or anything, but like from what I've seen, knowing him the past year or so, he's always kind of stuck true to who he is, and that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it is cool.
I mean, speaking of too young to retire, you asked me who's harder to keep in the box. He's got more energy than just about everybody in the building.
Well, it's tough in that spot too because you're looking at Austin and me, so you're trying to keep the mic, and it's easy to slide around over there. But you did a good job with it.
Do they have cameras that can follow you without like Hamby? Like, I mean, probably a little more expensive.
We probably do. Probably could.
Okay,
maybe we'll look into that.
I'm just saying. I mean, you know, the new year, Brent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Spending my money, keep doing it. One last thing about we're going to end on this. Remember we showed the lady who turned 100?
Yeah.
And as we were going to break, Austin said, I don't know. Hamby said, I don't know if I want to live to 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, send me out.
And Austin's like,
dude,
well, if I get to like 92 and there's a good TV show on, I got to at least get to the end of the
clinging
TV
on.
show.
I don't care if I'm a vegetable, man. You keep me on life support and someone's going to like tap on my thing to let me know what happened in the show.
I was like, I've never looked at thing.
You have to, Brent. Before. How can you not?
I got to see Yellowstone season 6
Brent,
before I go.
What happens when you're like 90 and Yellowstone season 25 comes out, Brent? You don't want to see how it ends, right? Oh, go get the cows back.
Let's see. Happy New Year, everybody.